Hey guys, tonight we're trading highway noise for camel bells and turning your bedroom into an 11th century pit stop. Picture this, you're squinting at a desert horizon, your water's mostly dust, and the only Wi-Fi for miles is whatever birds are chirping. Not sure you'd survive 3 hours here, but lucky you, we're just visiting. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with where you're watching from and whether it's past your bedtime yet. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Moonlight slices through latticework overhead, giving the sand a case of celestial chickenpox. Those star-shaped shadows aren't just pretty, they're math. Seljuk architects designed these screens to track constellations, medieval GPS for sleep-deprived traders. You drag a finger through the dust, centuries of boot prints and camel kisses dissolved into grit. History fact incoming. Over 1,000 caravanserais once dotted the Silk Road, free hotels, if you didn't mind sharing a room with 33 farting dromedaries. A hot breeze hitches a ride on your collar, smells like burned sage and poor life choices. Don't lick the walls, but if you did, they'd taste of saltpeter and sheep fat. Those dark stains, not ancient espresso spills. Workers mixed ox blood into the mortar. Rumor says it kept djinn from stealing their lunch. Your sandal crunches something. Pebble, goat tooth. Let's pretend it's a pebble. You tilt your head. The lattice casts checkered light on your cheeks. It's the same pattern London's Big Ben clock face would steal 8 centuries later. Coincidence? Merchants, probably hoarded designs, like we collect bad Netflix recommendations. 12 pointed stars merge and split as you walk, your shadow stretching into a funhouse mirror version of itself. Historians still argue whether these shapes were sacred geometry or just the medieval version of doodling during Zoom meetings. I blame the lack of caffeine. Your elbow brushes a wall, rough plaster worn smooth by generations of lost tourists. Imagine the gossip these stones overheard. That indent, maybe a silk trader leaned here while arguing over saffron prices. The chip above it, likely a board guard's dagger, testing the unbreakable finish. You press your palm where theirs might have been temperature identical to your office desk after a 3-hour conference call. Wind funnels through the gateway, creaking like a pensioner's knees. It carries voices, not real ones, obviously. Your brain's just jonesing for content after 12 seconds without tick-tock. That crumbling arch ahead, original builders used fermented egg whites as cement. True story, and why you'll never look at omelets the same. Step carefully. Every third brick's a liar. Daylight shifts them millimeter by millimeter, death by 1,000 sunrises. A bat shrieks past your ear, nature's jump scare. You freeze, half expecting armored guards to demand the password. 24 hours ago, you were Pixel 8 Pro Deep in a Groupon coupon hunt. Now, you're Indiana Jones if he forgot his hat and remembered to hydrate. Dark blotches stain the ceiling, centuries of lamp smoke baked into the stone. They used cresset lamps, here animal fat spitting flames, like hormonal teens. Still beats your landlord's vintage overhead lighting. Your toe stubs against a half-buried tile. Flip it over, cobalt glaze winks up at you. That specific blue, traders carried it from Afghanistan's lapis mines on Yakbak. One tile equals 6 months' wages. Drop that bad boy, and you'd be stuck mucking stables till Christmas. The pattern's fuzzy, sandblasted into abstraction. You squint. Is that a flower or a che ye enyeri tired sheep? Decisions. A moth kamikazes into your face because the universe hates graceful moments. Swatting blindly, you back into a pillar. Its carvings bite your shoulder through thin cotton stone petals and vine tendrils fossilized into braille. Touch reads what eyes can't. A palm-sized lion's mane swirls beneath your fingers. Craftsmen signed their work with hidden animals, this builder's mascot. The eternal cat demanding breakfast. Fact, moonlight fades, dawn's elbowing its way in. First light turns dust, motes into disco glitter. Your stomach growls, a sound that spook any self-respecting ghost. They stored dates and almonds in clay jars here, always under lock and key. Thieves got their hands chopped off primitive, but you've got to admire the commitment to workplace accountability. Shadows retreat, taking their secrets to whatever dimension half-eaten socks vanish into. You blink grit from your lashes as the lattice's starry roster fades. GPS signals were 800 years away, but that one persistent patch of lichen. Navigators used it like a North Star. Don't ask me how some mysteries taste better unsolved. Heat's creeping up your calves. Sunrise is that one friend who shows up early to parties. You pivot, soles scuffing a perfect half circle in the dust. 3, 2, 1. A sunbeam arrows through the eastern arch. It ignites a tile you swear wasn't glowing before. Copper threads in the mosaic catch fire, golden veins mapping a route you'll never take. 23 camels died hauling those tiles here. Their ghosts probably roll eyes at your $7 gas station sunglasses. Wind flicks your hair, a final move along nudge. You glance back once. Star patterns gone. Walls just walls again. But that indent where you leaned, still holding the shape of a modern hand, in 11th century plaster, temporary guests, in a conversation that outlasts empires. Your boot scuffs, stone worn smooth as river glass. Each groove a testament to merchants, pilgrims, and spies who crossed this threshold. The gate's iron hinges moan, a bass note vibrating through your collarbone. You half expect a doorman's challenge, but only the desert wind answers. Cedar planks line the archway. Lebanese timber carried 900 miles by mule train. Scholars confirm Seljuk builders favored its resinous scent to ward off termites and perhaps homesickness. Your nail catches a splinter, sap still faintly sticky After 8 centuries, the lintel stone dips inward, polished by countless fingers testing its edge for luck. You mimic them, palm gliding over cool sandstone. A surprise. Someone chiseled a tiny duck into the rock's underside. Camels, sure, but a duck. One wild theory claims it's a code among animal smugglers. Your flashlight betrays better craftsmanship than expected, too refined for mere vandalism. Cuneiform fractures spiderweb across the walls, original masonry, patched with mud bricks during Ghaznavid raids. Historians still argue whether these repairs were acts of preservation or quiet rebellion against Seljuk tax collectors. You trace the jagged seams' roughness, contrasting the honey gold stone around them. Moonlight bleeds through the gateway now. Your shadow stretches toward a courtyard of swallowed voices. The air tastes of trapped dust and ghost spices. 3 shallow grooves mar the threshold's center, caused not by feet, but by traders dragging locked chests, silver dirhams, perhaps, or peacock feathers packed in salt. A faded red handprint stains the right pillar, palms smaller than yours. Iron oxide pigment, analysis shows, same as cave paintings near Cappadocia. Guides claim pregnant travelers left these marks for safe passage. Your fingers hover, close enough to feel residual warmth, the desert hoards in stone. Night deepens. The gate's shadow creeps up your legs like rising water. Somewhere beyond the arch, a loose shutter claps, erratic heartbeat of the abandoned. You step fully inside, gravel crunching underfoot. 9 paces ahead, the courtyard waits. But for now, you're claimed by this liminal throat of timber and longing. Some believe Caravanserai, gates faced magnetic north, though your compass wavers here. Lodestone in the mortar, whispers suggest. You're pretty sure it's just the iron hinges messing with the needle, but the doubt lingers like a missed cord. Your jacket sleeve snags on a rusted door stud. Examination reveals not iron, but petrified camel saliva. Okay, that's new. Records mention traders using dromedary spit as a wound antiseptic. You scrape off a fleck, it flakes like mica, oddly iridescent. The taste test tempts you. Wisdom prevails. A bat skitters through the arch, wing beats like crinkling parchment. You freeze until it vanishes into indigo sky. When the stars reappear, they've shifted, an hour lost to wonder. The gate's shadow now licks at your heels, urging movement. Stone dust mushrooms underfoot as you pivot, view briefly mirroring what arriving merchants saw. Distant firelight on hills, maybe. Oasis mirages. You pull the creaking gate halfway shut. It resists, wood warped by centuries of sirocco winds. The latch clicks with finality. Too late now, the desert's favorite punchline. Breath steadies. The courtyard's scent shifts, figs fermenting somewhere unseen. You press a cheek to the cedar, feeling its glacial split along the grain. Voices murmur in the resin if you squint your ears. Grain taxes, bandit warnings, a child's rhyme about scorpions. One last discovery, a knotted rag wedged into a ceiling joint. Unraveling it feels intrusive, so you don't. 800 years of problem solving, improvised lint removal, emergency bandage, love note for the next apprentice. The wind rises, gate hinges chorusing in dissonant thirds. You step back, throat tight. Tomorrow's scholars might laser scan these grooves. Tonight, they're yours. A braille chronicle written in departing fingers and stubborn hope. The courtyard swallows you whole, a cube of silence, perforated by starlight. That dry fountain dominates the space, basin cracked like a sun-baked tortoise shell. Moon pools in its crevices, liquid silver defying the dust. Caravanserai fountains weren't decoration, but ritual stations, travelers washing feet before prayer. You kick off a sandal toe, dipping into imagined water. The stones still warm day's heat rising through your arch. 12 fig trees spear the perimeter roots, splitting tiles into geometric rashes. Their leaves shiver without breeze, unless you count your own pulse as wind. Fresh figs rot underfoot, sweetness turned to vinegar musk. 8 centuries ago, someone pressed a seed into the courtyard's northeast corner. Its descendants cling fast, arboreal squatters mining mortar for minerals. Ear to the basin's edge, you catch whispers of plumbing, terracotta pipes, narrow as a baby's wrist. Archaeologists found date pits, clogging one in Mercia, medieval Dranofale. Your finger circles the drain hole, smooth as a wishbone. Historians still argue whether desert caravanserais engineered silence, or if the hush grew naturally, thirsty air absorbing echoes. A nightjar calls, 3 notes mimicking the fountain's absent trickle. You spot its silhouette on a fig branch, neck feathers flared like a quill pen. Backing away, your heel grinds pottery shards into the gravel. Blue glaze winks up, same cerulean as Isfahan's peak. Seljuk potters never wrote down their signature pigment recipe. Modern spectrometers identified ground lapis and a dash of fermented pineapple. You circle the basin counterclockwise, though no signage demands it. Pigeon tracks spiral the rim, tiny hieroglyphs spelling we were here. One feather floats down, vanishing before it kisses stone. The urge to pocket it wars with respect for the tableau. Respect wins. Barely. Crouching, you peer through a crack in the basin's side. Spiderwebs cordon off mini caverns, webbed galleries for beetle traffic. 8 eyes gleam back, jumpy real estate tycoon guarding her portfolio. You blink first. The courtyard's pulse thrums louder now, subsonic hum in your molars. Vibration or hallucination? Both. 2 tiles near the south wall glint unnaturally. Scuffing dust reveals lead inlay, celestial maps worn to faint dents. Ursa Major's here, and is that a mustache on Orion? Scholars dismiss it as a tool slip, but one radical paper argues Seljuk architects snuck jokes into sacred geometry, celestial snark preserved in stone. Wind rifles through your hair, same gusts that once tousled horse Manet's here. The fig leaves applaud a sound like crumbling papyrus. You inhale deeply and immediately regret it. Silent courtyards hoard aromas, 8 centuries of camel dung and rosewater composting into something poignant. A tile shifts underfoot, click of stone dominoes. You freeze mid-step. Nothing collapses, yet. Unearthed scrolls mention collapsible floors in unstable caravanserais, early security systems for bandit-prone stops. Lean left, your weight redistributes with a sigh. The nightjar watches, unimpressed. Moonlight bleeds into the eastern arcade, pillar shadows stretch like prison bars. You count them twice, 37. Archaeologists verify that exact number at Konya's Sultanhani. Coincidence? This place scoffs at coincidences. Your shadow wavers, suddenly taller, robed, a flicker of turbaned silhouette. Blink, it's just you again. Mostly. The fountain's rim offers seating, dust centuries, thick cushioning your thighs. Out comes the water flask. Gulping breaks the quiet, crass modernity in liquid form. A droplet escapes, hitting the basin with operatic volume. The courtyard absorbs it, one more offering to its memory vault. Beneath the fig trees, beetle carapaces glitter emergency rations for lean winters. Trading tokens. You arrange 6 into a clover pattern. Wind demolishes it, harsh critic of amateur art. 3 figs plop down Nightjar's commentary. Someone tied a silk ribbon around a fig branch, threadbare relic the color of shame. Conservationists would hyperventilate. You leave it trembling, its story still latent, coiled. Ancient graffiti hides everywhere here. Sprawl on your back, sky wheels overhead, framed by the courtyard's strict architecture. The stars here aren't dots, but smears, trails of light buttered across black. You pick out Venus. Or is that Mars? No, just a satellite, soulless diode ruining the vibe. Close your eyes. Camel bells clank in the distance, or maybe tinnitus from that cursed gate hinge. Wind sculpts dust into spectral traders, robes swirling as they haggle over phantom spices. Their voices vibrate in your sternum, guttural bartering in long-dead dialects. Open your eyes, they scatter like ash. A real bat swoops the fountain, drunken dive bomber chasing moths, only it sees. Your watch beeps, a tinny heretic in this temple of timelessness. It claims you've lingered 40 minutes. The courtyard scoffs. It measures time in fig generations and sandstone erosion. But the path ahead pulses, pull of the guardhouse ghosts and their untold vigilance. Rising, you brush off sediment, or does it brush you off? 9 steps to the eastern arcade, each footfall lighter than the last. The fountain recedes, but its silence sticks to your skin, a film of ancient hush. Turn back once, the basin winks with stolen starlight, caretaker of all you almost heard. 12 pillars rise around you, bone-white sentinels, drilled with cosmic pockmarks. Your wristwatch claims 9:47 p.m. The courtyard's hush lingers on your skin, gritty film of expired time. Touch a column, calcium warmth seeping through centuries of sun-bleached lime plaster. Seljuk architects built to outlast dynasties, and succeeding wildly. Each capital curves skyward, stone petals frozen mid-bloom. You count them aloud. 4, 8, 12. Same number as lunar cycles in the Hijri calendar. But these aren't moons. Their pitted surfaces mirror constellations. Archaeologists mapped 7-star patterns here, Orion's belt clearly gouged above your head. One outlier squats between pillars, a duck-shaped cluster modern astronomers don't recognize. Play a game, palm flat on the column's north face. Memorize a dent. Circle the pillar. The same mark greets you, but shiftier. Turns out sandstone erodes unevenly, celestial graffiti warping over 800 monsoons. Lean into a shadowed groove, cool as a tomb's breath. Inscriptions whisper under your thumb, Kufic script eroded to braille. You trace a phrase, Allah Yamyaki, God protect you. Or is it Allah Yazmyaki, God dehydrate you? Vowel confusion gets existential here. 3 columns bear faint red stains. At knee height, wine splatter from a raucous banquet. Preservationists say no. It's iron oxide leaching through sandstone. But a 1930s dig diary swears they found raisin seeds embedded there, proof of Dionysian parties after curfew. Step back pillars frame ragged squares of night sky. Polaris twinkles dead center of the eastern arch. Not accidental constellations, here align with trade routes. Summer caravans timed departures when Scorpius clawed zenith. Your phone's star app struggles, GPS confused by old stones rewriting space-time. A bat zips through the colonnade, wingtip skimming a carving of Sagittarius. The bow cracks. Flakes spiral down, pre-dawn snowfall in reverse. You catch one mica glittering like pulverized disco ball. Wind threads through pillar fluting, a reedy moan that amps up when you move. Stand between columns 4 and 5, it harmonizes. Acoustic engineers mapped SIMIL, a R Chinese letter in Yazd's Grand Mosque. Coincidence? Or stone flutes tuned to desert frequencies sit against the sturdiest pillar, back aligned with Leo's chipped mane. Its base flares like a bell seismic tech before the Richter scale. Quakes would ring these columns like gongs, an early warning system. Modern restorers waffle leave the cracks or fill them with epoxy arrogance. Moonlight bleaches the capitals, turning scrollwork into ivy veins. Squint, the stone breathes. Blink, it stops. Basic fatigue, or the building's pulse. You touch the pillar again. It thrums through your femur. A scar splits the 9th column, lightning strike. Pickaxe gash. Bedouin tales whisper a Sufi mystic split it during whirling meditation. His spinning ripped a hole in reality, portal still drafty. You test the theory pirouette until the stars smear. Collapse laughing, the columns spin without you. Rain gutter channels web the floor, directing non-existent water toward the dead fountain. Follow one's path, toe tracing grooves worn by guardians' boots. The stones polished smooth as a chess piece, 8 centuries of pacing. Craning your neck, the pillars seem to tilt inward. Some do deliberate tapering to thwart ivy. Or was it an optical illusion game? Travelers' scrolls mention hazing rituals. New recruits told the columns walked at night. Chalk graffiti hides where shadows pool. A lopsided heart, 1947, initials S plus, AFRESH, Chinese letter footprints lead away. Someone's mutt left a critique. You add a stick figure camel, 4 legs, 3 humps. Why not? Pluck a dead moth from a capital's crevice, wings lacy as stained glass. Dissolves midair, ash on your palm. Memento mori meets PIX, a R Chinese letter. The pillars watch, unbothered. They've seen hotter fires than your mortality. Fatigue sets in sandstone's warmth, leaching into your spine. Historians still argue whether these columns marked time or mocked it. Your aching knees vote for mockery. Stand anyway, bones popping like a bowl of Rice Krispies. The bat returns, this time trailing a ribbon, same one from the fig tree. It snags on Sagittarius's cracked bow. Nights wind toys with the fabric semaphore, only desert owls decode. Your shadow stretches across 3 pillars, now 12 ribs, on a stone skeleton. Step sideways, it severs clean. 10th century sundials used similar tricks. Check your watch, 10:19 p.m. The Caravanserai yawns, bored of your circular awe. 3 steps toward the guardhouse. Each pillar's shadow tugs at your hem. A child's rhyme loops in your head. Columns hold up the sky. One breaks. We all die. Blame the altitude. Blame the moth dust. Doesn't matter. Pillar 13. Wait, you only counted 12. Turn, still 12. Then what's casting that extra sliver of shade? Breeze kicks up. Grit stings your eyes. Blink, it's gone. The Caravanserai's favorite party trick, gaslighting with geometry. Last glance back, pillars drink moonlight, indifferent as chess rooks. Their star maps blur, or maybe you do. The night deepens, air thick with unchewed secrets. Onward toward those guardhouse ghosts and their ceaseless watch. The guardhouse doorway shrinks your shadow to a child's cutout. Thresholds cool air, licks your ankles. Empty niches pockmark the entryway, each shelf once cradling terracotta oil lamps. Historians confirm 3 shifts patrolled here: dawn, dusk, and the treacherous hours when stars go cross-eyed. Your phone flashlight catches one surviving sconce, shaped like a grumpy owl clutching an olive. Quirky choice, until you remember Athena's bird doubled as an insomnia mascot for ancient sentinels. Crouch, your knee finds a dip in the floor. Count 5 similar hollows where guards stood centuries. Right leg always bent, left foot tapping through watch rotations. Archaeologists found cherry pits here, 800 years old, still split from bored teeth. Spit 1, imagined seed against the wall, it phantom clicks against stone. Wind slithers through arrow slits, whistling the same 3-note motif. You hum along, realize it's Frere Jacques. Your subconscious mocks historicity. A shadow pool ripples, no source visible. Step into it. Chill climbs your calves, like wading through a mountain stream. Guardhouse ghosts prefer ankles first. The back wall sports a charcoal ledger, stick figures tallying days or dinars. Squint, one merchant's drawn himself with comically large ears. Nearby, a half-finished chessboard. Pawns crafted from sheep knuckles, eternally mid-gambit. Historians still argue whether night watches played games or just hallucinated them during opium-laced prayer breaks. Press your palm to a soot smear, some poor sod's fingerprint frozen in carbon. It tingles, maybe residual body heat, maybe indigestion. Your gut votes kebab-related. A draft tickles your neck, swing the flashlight. Dust motes swarm like angry bees. Apologize to the air. 3 grooves score the ceiling, exactly sword length apart. Training drills or frustration vents. Touch the deepest gouge. A metallic tang clings to your fingertip. 10th century Persian steel had a higher sulfur content. Or someone bled here. The wall offers no comment. A bench niche cradles fossilized citrus rinds, guards snack against scurvy or bad breath diplomacy. Imagination supplies a mustachioed sentry, peeling an orange, sequin-sized droplets hitting his boots. The acid etched those toe caps, now displayed in Tehran's DU. ST, white Chinese letter shelf. Your light dies punishment for ignoring low battery warnings. Darkness blooms. Muffled footsteps echo yours from 30 seconds ago. The guardhouse hoards sounds like a trivia collector. Breathe shallow, earthy decay, and petrified rosemary coat your tongue. Moonlight slinks in, revealing a rusted nail on the floor. Ottoman era. Slightly bent, forging flaw or trophy from a brawl. Pocketed, history loves petty thieves. The wall sighs. Or maybe you exhale. Same difference now. Leftmost niche hides a surprise child's handprint in dried mud. Palms smaller than your phone. Guards brought families, or stowaways squeezed between spice sacks. Trace the tiny fingers. A cold spot lingers under the pinky. Your own hand retreats, instincts yelling nope in 17 languages. 3 pebbles sit, stacked near the door, crude alarm system. Kick one by accident. They scatter, clatter, amplifying into a rockslide crescendo. The guardhouse approves your percussive flair. Your eardrums don't. Shuffle sideways, hip bumps a hidden ledge. Secret compartment. Slide it open, brittle linen scraps inside. Duty rosters, love poem fragments. A doodle of a grumpy camel. Universal bureaucracy, even in chainmail. Sudden warmth blushes your right side, where a guard once toasted bread over a brazier. Your arm hairs curl in solidarity. Blink, the heat vanishes. Left with a phantom craving for flatbread. A dented bronze bowl sits upside down in a corner, military issue or dog dish. Flip it. Something skitters underneath, silverfish or shame. Historians footnote these choices. You embrace cowardice, bowl replaced. The exit arch beckons, its keystone carved with twin scorpions. Their tails loop into a heart. Mason's inside joke, or dire warning about desert flings. Step through, guardhouse, shadows release you like a held breath. Your shadow stretches toward the stable now, tugged by camel-sized curiosities, but the guardhouse wall murmurs behind one last whisper. Turn, nothing but moonlight lacquering empty niches. They crave company, but you've got older ghosts to meet. The stable door hangs crooked, its cedar planks warped into a sneer. Rotting straw crunches underfoot, sweetgrass aroma, cut with urine's metallic bite. Camel caravans needed 600 such way stations along the Silk Road. This one straddled the lapis lazuli trade route. Your boot kicks a crescent shape in the grime, a horseshoe. Think again. Ottoman farriers favored copper alloys. This greenish curve cradles a mouse skeleton. Snort laughs echo, not yours. Squint upward, pigeons roost where haylofts once stored alfalfa. One coos the rhythm of a Shakira chorus. The building's acoustics mock chronology. 3 stone troughs line the wall, their edges nibbled by molars. Archaeologists found frankincense resin in similar troughs, either premium feed additive or smuggler's stash. A pillar's base bears diagonal grooves, height markers for loading pack animals. Run your hand along the notches. Traders measured dromedaries like stubborn children, their humps sulking at the touch. Dust motes swirl into spirals, no breeze to blame. They coalesce briefly, hoofprint shape, hovering at knee height. Step through it, static kisses your leg hair. Stable ghosts prefer practical jokes to guardhouse spooks. Crouch, sunlight slants through a chink in the wall. The beam illuminates 53 carvings, crude camels mid-stride, count 19, with riders flipping the bird. Universal road trip humor etched in 1147 CE. Historians still argue whether medieval traders used hand gestures or just had terrible etching skills. Your shadow trips over a rusted bell collar. Rub the patina, faint lettering emerges. Blessed be Ali's fastest. Racing dromedaries wore these, their jockeys betting silk bolts on sprints. Your thumb finds a groove where some speed demon camel gnawed the bronze. Something glints under moldy hay. A silver dirham coin, Mamluk dynasty, mint marks worn to ghosts. Flip it. Tails. The calcium crust suggests it spent centuries tails up, unlucky even in repose. Central columns splay outward like stone tree roots. Earthquake repairs. Nope, deliberate design. 10th century architects copied Persian barns' stability through controlled collapse. It works. Mostly, a spiderweb cracks the ceiling, held together by optimism and pigeon poop. Nostrils flare, sudden cinnamon punch. Track the scent to a feed sack's remnants. Cardamom pods nestle inside, faded saffron threads clinging like confetti. Some merchant's emergency tea stash, now a rat's boudoir. A grooming brush lies handle up in the corner, hog bristles fossilized into daggers. Imagine a stable hand cursing as he detangled Bactrian camel fluff, closest thing to wrestling storm clouds. 3 niches between stalls, too high for hay. Traders hid lockboxes here, or amateur astronomers tracked stars. Your phone light reveals scratch marks, maybe constellation maps, maybe tallying camel farts. Lean against a support beam, your back meets unexpected warmth. 1,000 sun-scorched afternoons baked into limestone. Peel away slowly, shirt patterned with brickwork indentations. The stable smirks, finger paint red stains streak one wall. Pomegranate juice, henna, or watered down blood. Press a knuckle to it, powdery residue smells like tart cherries. Consensus leans towards festive labeling, but you sidle away just in case. Dried dung bricks stack near the entrance, fuel source and insulation. One crumbles underfoot, releasing earthy musk. Your sinuses clear, then rebel with a sneeze loud enough to rattle Timur's tomb. Pigeons scatter in judging silence. A lone iron ring juts from the ceiling tether for prized stallions or hanging meat. Rotating slowly, though no one touched it. Drafts here have agenda. Your neck prickles. Kneel, 3 leather strips protrude from floor cracks. Braided reins, whip fragments. Pull one gently. It disintegrates into tea leaf speckles. Decay's magic trick. The building swallows your gasp. Moonlight floods through a collapsed roof section, illuminating a half-buried horseshoe nail. Forge marks suggest Syrian craftsmanship, or a really homesick blacksmith. Drop it. The clang reverberates in your molars. South wall reveals the piece de resistance, a hoofprint fossilized in plaster. Year 1200's finest parking job. Match your palm to it. Heat blooms unexpectedly. Someone's desert-tired mare left a thermal memory. Footsteps approach from the guardhouse, your own, delayed by clever acoustics. The stable mirrors your path, echoes, curdling into phantom jingle bells. Traders hung them on lead camels, each caravan's sonic fingerprint. Another sneeze threatens. Clench your nose, eyes water. Through the tears, a shadow mane ripples on the wall. Blink gone. The air thrums with purrs. Camels don't purr. Imagination overdosing on ambience. Retreat toward the courtyard. Each step kicks up dust, imprinted with ancient hoof geometries. Behind you, straw rustles with purpose. Turn wind or spectral dromedary shifting weight. The stable keeps its secrets coiled tight. Your shadow stretches toward the kitchen next, drawn by phantom smoke trails. But the barn door creaks in protest, as if mourning modern indifference. You offer an awkward half-wave. The pigeons mock this human sentiment, cooing a lullaby for stone and straw. The kitchen archway swallows you, its soot-stained ribs curling like charred fingers. Cold ash clings to mortar lines, black snow preserved in stone wrinkles. Ottoman kitchens burned almond shells for heat, scentless smoke, prized by paranoid sultans. Your sleeve grazes the wall, charcoal smudges bloom like accusing fingerprints. 3 fire pits gape empty, their iron grates fused to stone by centuries of grieving. Squatting, you brush a palm over dead embers. Gray powder puffs upward, tasting of salt and extinction. Archaeologists once found a rat skeleton here, its belly packed with saffron threads. Diner or thief? History's jury's out. A rusted cleaver juts from a chopping block, blade warped into a Salvador Dali smirk. Test its edge, sharp enough to split a hair. Or a gossip's tongue. 10th century cooks, seasoned between executions. Touch the handle, your palm comes away orange. Centuries of turmeric stains outlive empires. Crumbled bricks delineate ovens, beehive domes now housing scorpion nurseries. Their shadows dance, tiny pincers applauding your intrusion. Lean closer, air smells of burnt honey and regret. Mamluk sugar, traders' caramelized failures here, their overpriced syrups salvaged as glaze. Cobwebs drape a shelf like moth-eaten lace. Beneath them, clay bowls stacked in descending sizes. Nestled inside, date pits fossilized into stone tiers. Historians still argue whether caravans used these for measuring grain or gambling with camel droppings. Your pinky fits perfectly in the smallest bowl, a snack portion for djinn. The central hearth's chimney yawns upward, its throat lined with handprints. Cooks pressed palms here while whispering recipes, each dish a love letter to road weariness. You mimic the gesture. The soot feels velvety, demonstrably alive. A sneeze claws at your sinuses. Resist. Footsteps crunch behind you, your own echoing back through time. The acoustics here mimic a drunkard's hiccup. Turn too fast. Elbow smashes a hanging copper pot. Its dented belly sings a wobbly A-flat. Pigeons scatter. Feathered critics hating avant-garde percussion. Dried lemon peels spiral across the floor, curleaks of expired tang. Crush one underfoot. Citrus oil flares in your nose. Chefs used these to mask mutton's eau de stable. Works better than modern car air fresheners. A cracked millstone tilts against the wall, burnt offering to the god of clumsy bakers. Rub its grooved surface. Flower motes rise like resentful spirits. Nomads ground barley here between sword fights. Your stomach growls, betrayal echoed by distant thunder. Clay jars line a recessed niche, their stoppers cemented by mysterious goo. Pry one open, brittle cumin seeds cascade down your wrist. Sniff, aroma punches through 7 centuries. Cooking here required a strong nose and stronger liver. Beneath a collapsed shelf, glazed tiles shimmer in torchlight. Step patterns from a Sufi food dance. Nope, dried pomegranate molasses. Lick your thumb, press it to the glaze. Sweetness blooms, then curdles into vinegar aftertaste. Time's cruel tasting menu. Wind wheezes through a missing brick, its whistle mimicking a tea kettle. Early caravan cheflery, boiled water here, tossing in time and paranoia. Your fingers twitch for a non-existent mug. The phantom brew scalds your esophagus. A child's handprint survives near the doorway, palms smeared in faded henna. Kitchen apprentices started at age 6, stirring pots taller than their grief. Press your hand over it. The gap spans 300 years of hunger. Stone sinks channel toward a drain, clogged with petrified chickpeas. Poke them with a stick. They roll like marbles in a tomb. Water here once rinsed blood, and dough, democracy of the drain. Ceiling hooks dangle like question marks. What hung here? Goat carcasses, copperware. Your headlamp catches one rusted tip impaling a mummified bat. Upside down chef's kiss. A brick loosens underfoot. Reveal a mouse nest of shredded parchment. Burnt letter scraps cling to the fibers. Squint at the Arabic. 16 dirhams for rancid butter, and Yusuf's foot fungus returned. Receipts or ancient Yelp reviews. Something crunches in your hair. Ash, insect legs, brush it off, caraway seeds rain down. A pigeon's pantry stash, or ingredients for a hex. The answer determines your next shampoo. Moonlight slants through a high window, spotlighting a solitary spoon fused to the floor. Silver, pewter, liquid tastes like betrayal and shepherd's pie. Your tongue numbs, probably psychosomatic. Retreat toward the courtyard. Ash clings to your soles like guilty thoughts. Behind you, a cauldron clangs, empty but resonant. The kitchen wields absence as its sharpest utensil. Your shadow flees first, stretching toward the architect's thumbprint in section 24. But the hearth's ghostly draft tugs your collar, murmuring recipes even stray dogs forgot. You exit backward, bowing to a room that never dined alone. Cold stone numbs your back as you lean into the dome's curve, your spine aligning with masonry laid 8 centuries ago. Above, the oculus stares, a cyclops pupil swallowing the moon hole. Seljuk builders calculated its placement using arm-length rods and camel hair plumb lines. Their blueprints etched in dust now. A bat flits through the silver beam, its wing beats scattering light like smashed mercury. You step into the glow, skin prickling under the moon's lidless eye. Byzantine glass shards glint underfoot, forgotten mosaics pulverized by boot heels. Architects once embedded zodiac symbols here, Pisces shimmering where your left foot rests. Most scholars dismiss it as New Age drivel, but your souls tingle regardless. Wind funnels through the opening, a spectral flute note trembling your eardrums. Tilt your head back. The whole frames Mars tonight blood red and brooding. 10th century astronomers tracked its retrograde here, scratching calculations into wet plaster. Their equations faded, outlasted by a doodle of a grumpy cat smoking a pipe. The beam narrows, sharpening to a blade as clouds part. It slices the floor into light and shadow, a sundial for insomniacs. Your shadow stretches toward the eastern wall, distorting into a giraffe-necked giant. Blink, it's just you again. Less dramatic. Something glitters in the niche your hand closes around a ceramic shard. Turn it. Glazed cobalt winks back. Ottoman coffee cups shattered here during a debate over goat milk tariffs. Historians still argue whether the dome amplified voices or just trapped bad ideas. A pebble dislodges from above, pinging your shoulder before vanishing. Look up, the oculus winks. No culprit in sight, just stars smirking through the void. You pocket the shard, new home for loose time or existential dread. Moonlight pools at your feet, liquid silver soaking through worn shoe leather. Medieval travelers believed this glow cured saddle sores. Modern hikers call it freezing your toes off. Both truths coexist tonight. 3 steps clockwise, the beam climbs your legs like a possessive lover. Counterclockwise, it abandons you for a cracked tile shaped like Anatolia. Fairweather friend, this moon. The original builders calibrated the angle for winter solstice, aligning it with a mountain pass even Google Maps can't find. Your breath fogs the air, each puff a ghostly snare drum. Whispers bounce off the dome, your own voice remixed into bird chatter. Ask a question, any question. The echo answers in medieval merchant slang. Where's the latrine? Gets particularly creative responses. A moth dives into the light, wings singed by imagined heat. It spirals, frantic figure skater on a celestial rink. Track its shadow, a Rorschach blot morphing between wolf head and bad haircut. Press your palm to the wall, cold seeps into your lifeline. Hidden beneath plaster, a child's handprint in dried mulberry juice. They stood here waiting for their father's caravan, never guessing they'd become the wall's oldest tenant. The moon drags its beam westward, exposing a crack in the foundation. Peer inside. Spiderwebs glitter with stolen moonlight. One arachnid hoards mother-of-pearl buttons, 8th century couture disasters preserved in silk. Clouds clot the oculus. Sudden darkness feels like a lampshade yanked over your head. Freeze. Listen. Scritch-scratch of rodent claws on stone, or a scribe's reed pen racing against dawn. The difference matters to your pulse rate. Light returns weak and jaundiced. The floor tiles now resemble aging dentures, stained, mismatched, dubious. Your reflection swims in their glaze, warrior poet 1 second, tax auditor the next, identities slippery here. A bead rolls past your foot, glass yoke trapped in amber. Venetian traders lost these by the gross drunk on fermented mare's milk. Crouch to grab it, your knees protest like unoiled carriage wheels. The dome exhales, pushing you toward the exit with a gust of tomb breath. You resist, textbook decision for a horror movie red shirt. The archway beckons, safety dangling, just past the light's edge. Final glance upward, the oculus shrinks to a monocle's lens. Some mad lord's eye view, rationing wonder in precise beams. Your left heel grinds a pottery shard to dust, ending a coffee cup's 800-year character arc. Outside, stars swarm like uninvited banquet guests, but the dome's cold pupil follows you. It carves your shadow into the courtyard, a parchment cutout for future ghosts to critique. Dust motes swarm where your shadow parts the light, your arrival disturbing 8 centuries of patient silt. The wall ahead blooms with charcoal scars, crude camels, stick figure caravans, looping symbols only merchants understood, their ochre pigment flakes under your breath, each mark a bragging right in dead men's shorthand. You squint at a bull's head glyph, horns chipped but still cocky. 10th century traders used these to claim storage niches, ancient Amazon lockers for frankincense and lies. Experts think the squiggles below denote quantity. XX camels worth of cinnamon, or regret this purchase. Your thumbnail traces a signature's flourish, some long gone hustler's pride preserved in carbon. A child's drawing hijacks the lower corner, clumsy camel, legs mid-stride. Its rider wears a triangle hat you recognize from Mongol miniatures. Historians still argue whether these doodles indicate traveling children or board guards mocking their bosses. Sunlight shifts, revealing a charcoal fist clutching coins. Next to it, a crude bird with content intentionally truncated due to platform limitations. Full 18-0-word narration available upon request through approved channels. Your boots find the cistern's edge, stone grating grooved by ropes that hauled water skyward. Beyond the rusted iron lattice, black liquid mirrors your face until a wisp of cloud stirs it. Ripples distort your nose into a hook, your eyes into almonds, your every trader who ever leaned here parched. Drip, 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 somewhere below. Seljuk engineers built these reservoirs to outlast dynasties. Rainwater sieved through 60 miles of terracotta pipes. Modern plumbers would weep at the simplicity and charge you extra for the vibe. You crouch, palms skimming the surface. Cold seeps through calluses, your skin borrowing the wetness of dead men. Something glints in the murk, not a coin too jagged. A fingernail-shaped tile. You lean closer. The water stills, reveals a face that isn't yours. Sunken cheeks, eyes wide as in startled hair. You jerk back. The vision shatters into 1,000 silver shards. Wind fusses with the grating. A scrap of blue catches your sleeve, indigo dye from some long-rotted robe. Historians found similar fibers in Aleppo's ruins, proof of trade routes stretching from Baghdad to Barcelona. You rub the cloth between fingers. It stains your skin like regret. 3 steps down, darkness thickens. Your phone's flashlight feels sacrilegious here. A harsh beam slicing through 800 years of respectful gloom. The walls weep mineral tears, their patterns mimicking cursive script. Some claim these streaks hold encrypted messages, guides to hidden oases. Most scholars roll their eyes, but you squint anyway. A child's footprint fossilized in mud brick. Archaeologists debated this for decades, proof of a builder's kid sneaking into the worksite. Or ritual symbolism. You press your sneaker against the print. A perfect match for size 9. The air tastes of wet sheep wool and betrayal. Your light dies. Darkness floods in a physical weight on your tongue. That drip, drip, drip grows louder, syncs with your pulse. When merchants slept here, did they hear this same rhythm? Imagine their camels stamping above their snores, ricocheting off vaulted ceilings. Now just you and the cistern's wet breath. A carved ibex stares from the wall, its horns chipped by vandal hands. 10th century graffiti artists were dicks too. You trace the beast's flank, hit a patch of sulfur-scented moss. Otters supposedly lived here once, their preserved skulls found during a 1930s dig. No one explains how aquatic mammals survived in a desert well. You don't ask either. Fingers brush something stringy near the waterline, a reed basket skeleton. Its weave still tight for now. 3 more monsoons. 5. Then it'll become silt. Historians still argue whether these cisterns hosted baptisms or just really depressing pool parties. You snap a photo. The flash paints the chamber bone white. When you climb back to daylight, your reflection's waiting. Older somehow. The water whispers a name, guttural and unhurried vowels that curl like smoke. You pretend not to hear. Some secrets drown men. Wind licks your neck as you climb each stair worn smooth by guards who memorized these steps blindfolded. The rooftop spreads before you, a chessboard of crumbling stone and stubborn weeds. Beyond the parapet, dunes roll like frozen waves, their crests gilded by moonlight. Your lungs fill with air so crisp it crackles. Desert towers once used these winds to cool royal chambers below, ingenious shafts funneling every breeze into a lifeline. Modern AC owes these architects a fruit basket. You lean into the gust, your shirt billows into a sail of fabric snapping like camel pennants. Some claim the notches along the edge served astrological purposes, aligning with stars only visible during leap years. Historians still argue whether they're tool marks or intentional carvings. You side with aliens as a joke, but part of you wonders. A shard of pottery grinds underfoot, blue glaze winking up at you. 9th century takeout container, more likely a tile from the Sultan's rushed renovation. Quality assurance wasn't a thing back then. The wind shifts, carrying a scent of roasted pistachios. Or maybe it's just the ghost of a merchant's last snack. Your stomach growls, betraying you to the ruins. 3 arched gaps pierce the northern wall, their purpose debated hotter than Saharan noon. Wind instruments, pigeon perches. You press your cheek against cold stone, and the desert inhales. A low hum vibrates your molars, an ancient dentist's nightmare. Legend says the original architect embedded glass orbs here, shattered during a Mongol's temper tantrum. You find only grit and swallow the urge to cough. Starlight bleaches the eastern alcove. Here, the winds coil into whispers. Stories cling to your ears, half-heard phrases in dead dialects. A 1947 expedition swore they recorded voices here, later dismissed as drunken gibberish. The tapes sealed in Istanbul, untouched since '63. You hold your breath, catch a syllable that sounds like your name. The stones chuckle, or maybe it's your paranoia finally paying rent. You trace a finger along mortar lines, crumbling as easy as shortbread. Some sections glow faintly, crushed scorpions mixed into the plaster for protection. Practical and petty, the Seljuk trademark. A gecko darts over your wrist, its toes adhesive enough to shame NASA. You name it Jeff, regret it instantly when it leaves a tiny turd on your sleeve. Moonlight carves your shadow into the western parapet, stretching it toward a constellation the Bedouin called the Broken Promise. Its stars outline a sword or a sultan's limp mustache. Depends who you ask. The wind nudges you eastward, toward a darker patch of wall. Your flashlight reveals a charcoal sketch stick, figures holding hands beneath a six-legged camel. 10th century fan fiction or bored kids doodle. You snap a pic for Reddit karma, knowing full well it'll get buried in cat videos. A tile shifts under your heel, hollow beneath. Kneeling, you pry it up with a car key. Find a void smelling of sage and old coins, empty except for a single date pit dark as a pharaoh's toenail, who hides a snack they never retrieved. Some poor soul interrupted mid-bite by a raid, a heart attack, a really gripping sunset. You pocket the pit, suddenly craving something sweet. The wind dies, leaving your ears ringing. Silence here feels earned, not just emptiness. You count 16 breaths before the gusts return, this time singing a two-note dirge. Ottoman records mention a missing muezzin who practiced his calls here until the dunes swallowed his voice. His ghost reportedly hums during sandstorms, a service announcement for the damned. You hum along badly, and the wind corrects your pitch. Beneath your feet, the rest stop sleeps. Somewhere down there, your reflection still ripples in cistern water, aging without you. Above, infinity winks through specks of ancient light. Your phone buzzes, a calendar alert, but you silence it. The desert invented tardiness, and right now, you're its willing apprentice. One last gust riffles your hair, carrying the faintest echo of laughter. Maybe Jeff, the gecko, found a friend. Maybe stones remember jokes. You don't turn around. Some mysteries taste better unanswered, like why the wind smells faintly of apricots, or how your shadow now stretches 3 paces longer than before. Stone presses cold against your palm as you descend, the stairway narrowing into a throat of shadows. A doorway swallows you whole, its lintel etched with cursive loops that dance just beyond comprehension. Your flashlight paints the text gold Arabic glyphs, rippling like mirages. 10th century Kufic script, its geometric precision softened by wind-blown grit. Historians call this the stone Quran approach. Seljuk rulers loved verses as decor. You squint at a weathered Arabic ba, Arabic ta, Arabic rot, letters sanded to mere suggestions. Your fingertip follows their curves, ridges sharp where rain couldn't reach. Imagine the calligrapher's hand, steady despite screaming muscles, his ink pot long dried, his name erased. A draft snakes through the passage, whistling between silent Arabic alif and Arabic lam. The carvings inhale, exhale a dirge, in a key your bones recognize. 3 sections repeat, a tripled Arabic lam, Arabic alif date hamza, Arabic lam, Arabic ha, Arabic Khalif Did Hamza, Arabic lamb, Arabic Khalif, Arabic Khalif, Arabic lamb, Arabic lamb, Arabic ha. Or is it the third Arabic lamb, Arabic Khalif? Looks squat, suspicious. You snap a photo, enhance. Zoomed in, the ligature hides tiny notches. Some claim masons encoded numbers here, smuggling math, jokes past sultans. Archaeo-nerds foam over this stuff. You prefer the theory about a pissed-off apprentice's sabotage. Dust coats your tongue as you mouth the words, consonants sticking like overchewed dates. A gust answers, scattering your attempted Arabic Khalif, Arabic lamb, Arabic lamb, Arabic ha, Arabic hamzatat leaf, Arabic kaf, Arabic ba, Arabic rot, into the dark. Down the hall, syllables skitter like scorpions. Someone's laughing, or maybe it's just the acoustics of 1,000 lost hamzas. A chip of plaster clings to your sleeve, fragile as a moth wing. Under magnification, flecks of lapis and malachite. This wasn't bare stone once, pigments brighter than a peacock's tantrum. Now it's all sepia tones and your sad iPhone flashlight. You swipe a moistened thumb, the wall shrugs off centuries in a gritty smear. Yeah, letter 1E63, A Macron, letter 1E25, IB Alcar. You whisper badly. 9th century Arabic vowels were wilder than TikTok trends. Your butchering would have earned a flogging. The echo corrects you, a phantom Arabic ta clinging to the ceiling. Wind punishes your ear, but the aftertaste of almond oil lingers. 2 carvings duel near the threshold, one crisp, one faded. Time's bias, or a deliberate censoring. Historians still argue whether these were devotional marks or tax records. You trace the deeper groove, its edges still militant. If walls could talk, they'd probably complain about coffee stains. A sliver of moonlight breaches a crack, spotlighting a name. Arabic hamzatat leaf, Arabic het, Arabic meme, Arabic dal, Arabic ba, Arabic noon. The rest eaten by erosion. Your brain auto-completes it. Arabic hamzatat leaf, Arabic het, Arabic meme, Arabic dal, Arabic ba, Arabic noon, TikTok. Arabic hamzatat leaf, Arabic het, Arabic meme, Arabic dal, Arabic ba, Arabic noon, Wi-Fi. The past resists memes. You cough, the sound ricochets into a miniature avalanche of pebbles. Somewhere, Jeff's gecko descendants judge you. Your shadow blots out a cluster of dots, diacritics guiding readers' long dust. Quranic or administrative. Academic catnip. Here's a hot take, maybe it's both. Holy words double teaming as inventory lists. God is great. Also, we're low on saffron. The wind shifts, carrying a phrase you almost grasp. Not modern Arabic, something older. Aramaic substrate, pre-Islamic. Your ears perk like a meerkat's. The Seljuks were Turkic, their Persian scribes. But sure, let's toss in a dead language cameo. The stones murmur, then clench tight. Even ruins have trust issues. You pivot, flashlight catching a diagonal slash across 3 lines. Vandalism. A later addition. No, too precise. Ottoman era graffiti reading Mehmet was here. Press your nose close, smell nothing but stale ambition. Every conqueror leaves a tag, even if it's just bacteria in the mortar. Laughter trickles down from the rooftop, that same airy chirp. You freeze, but it's just the wind through a new fissure. Nature's prank. The carvings seem to rustle, inkless pages in a book bound by gravity. You count 17 glyphs in the last column. Prime number. Numerologists would plots. Sweat drips onto a vowel mark, turning Arabicu into a Rorschach blob. It stares back, judging your life choices. Middle Eastern archaeology degree, assistant professorship, now licking walls for clues. Worth it. A draft licks your neck, the universal maybe. You step back, bump into a pillar. The impact dislodges a centuries-old cobweb dusty chandelier of a very patient spider. The script swims in your vision, letters blending into vines, eyes serpents. Tesla's warped text captcha in solid rock. You blink hard, reality reassembles, mostly. 3 bees nest in a chiseled arabiquette, their honey dripping into the stem. Modern interlopers. Yet their wax seals cracks better than any preservation team. You nod respect, they buzz approval. The original masons would have welcomed them, pollinators being medieval HVAC. Your phone dies, plunging the inscription into black. But the letters glow faintly, no, that's your retinas overcompensating. Palms flat on the wall now, reading by braille. Raised, recessed, a history of pressure. You spell out Arabic meme, Arabic wow, Arabic ta, then stop. Some words taste too real in the dark. Dawn bleeds through the doorway, stripping the script of its mystique. Gold becomes beige shadows. Retreat, the magic hour evaporates. You pocket a pebble, illegal, but irresistible, its edge still sharp from a mason's strike. The first tourists will arrive soon, snapping selfies where you stood trembling. One final glance back, the carvings seem simpler now. Just rock, just tools, just hands. But the wind riffles your notes, flipping to a sketch of that suspicious Arabic lamb, Arabica leaf. You'll email Dr. Ebrahimi at Tehran. You get her take. She'll reply in all caps Farsi. You'll Google translate it, mistaking passionate analysis for a death threat. Sunlight hits the threshold, your shadow flees ahead. The stones exhale, settling into daytime anonymity. You walk away with glyphs under your nails, and the unshakable sense something whispered your name in a tongue not meant for breathing throats. Ash grits underfoot as you kneel, charcoal flakes, catching moonlight like dead fireflies. The hearth stretches 8 paces wide, enough for 3 cauldrons back, when silk roads buzzed. Seljuk hospitality. Laws required hot meals for travelers. Even kings paid cooks in silver dirhams. Your breath stirs the dust, black snow drifting toward drafts you can't feel. A half-melted ladle pokes from the debris, its bronze handle warped by a final, furious boil. You nudge it, the metal moans. Folklore claims cooks buried curses here, vengeance for undertagged mutton. Modern scans show animal bones, and one perplexing sturgeon spine. Fish in a desert inn. Some scholar's thesis died defending that. Soot fingerprints stain the ceiling, centuries of smoke, writing its own saga, layered like tree rings. Famine years thin and gray, feast days thick as tar. You sneeze, the echo bounces off flues long blocked by owl nests. Historians still argue whether this was kitchen or courtroom. Ash preserves both lamb fat and lies. Your sleeve brushes the firebox, flakes clinging like inverse stars. Fingers find grooves where bellows once fed flames. Iron reinforcements hint at blast furnace heat, yet the mortar stays cool. Thermal, shock resistant, 10th century engineering or dumb luck. The answer's buried with the bricklayer who choked on his own masterpiece. A glint in the ash you dig, a dinar coin wedged between stones. Squinting, you make out a bowlegged horse and caliph's sneer, currency from the rival Fatimid caliphate, smuggled tip. Lost bet, maybe just a dropped crumb from history's table. You pocket it, future use problem. Wind funnels down the chimney, a hollow whistle that mimics boiling water. Close your eyes, hear the clang of a breakfast gong. Peppercorns pop in hot oil, dough sizzles. A drover curses burnt fingers. The fantasy fades, replaced by the tinny taste of airborne decay. 3 bricks bear crescent-shaped chips, moon phases. Souvenir hunters. Turns out masons used recycled tiles from a Zoroastrian temple. Look closely, faint flame motifs under soot. Adaptation beats demolition. Even fire worshippers need rest stops. Your thumb rubs a curved edge smooth as prayer beads. Something winks in the shadow's glass. A vile fragment, its lip fused shut. Apothecary or poisoner. Both flourished here. Lab analysis found trace myrrh and enough hemlock to drop a mule. You sniff, get a noseful of how old fear smells. Spoiler, it's all attic musk and bad decisions. Drip, drip, water seeps through a crack, splitting ash into rivulets. Miniature canyons form, your childhood mud pies, reborn as nihilist art. The drains clogged with weight. Is that a baby's tooth? Calcified and gray. Don't ask, don't tell, let grad students debate it. The back wall feels warmer, a trapped sunbeam. Delusion. Press your cheek to stone nothing. Then, a shiver's ghost where flames licked nightly for 300 years. Energy can't die, just yawns and stretches into new forms, physics or poetry. The hearth keeps its secrets. Bats rustle overhead, their droppings freshening the ash pile. Circle of life, or gross airman review. You trace a Bactrian camel in the dust, humps like parentheses around erased stories. Someone's engraved con nearby, with a crude phallus. Traders never change. Moonlight shifts, exposing a handprint on the hearth's rim. Too small for a laborer. A child's mischief immortalized. Gentleman's bet. It's the same kid who drew that rooftop camel. Time peels layers, leaves coincidences smirking. You press your palm over it. The stones hum with shared mischief. Dawn threatens, turquoise bleeds through smoke vents. You stand, ash cascading from your knees like a slate waterfall. The hearth exhales, sending a charcoal kiss swirling toward the dead flue. 17 seconds, then stillness. Last night's embers drown in fresh light until tomorrow's shadows stoke them anew. Dust motes swirl where your ash stirring woke them, lazy fireflies in the first real daylight. You blink at the ceiling, ropes dangle like cobra skins, frayed and forgotten. Seljuk weavers hung fabrics here indigo from Afghan mines. Madder root reds staining their fingertips for life. A scroll from 1092 lists 93 knots per square inch as standard. You count 7 in this remnant, either sloppy work or decay winning. One cord brushes your shoulder, dry fibers snagging wool like a needy kitten. Pull back, it resists. These strands once held rugs worth more than camels, payment in spices or wives. A fringe clings to your sleeve, snaps. The sound echoes, then a creak above, probably just beams cooling, but your neck hairs vote ghost. Cross the room, each step kicks up motes that stick to your sweat. The east walls a spine of vertical beams, grooves worn by thread tension. Imagine looms wide as chariots, 6 women singing as shuttles click-clack. No OSHA here, fingers lost to rogue spindles, buried with the linen. A clay weight rolls underfoot, triangular, stamped with a winged lion. Standard issue, except this one's half melted. Overzealous kiln, or repurposed from a Sogdian temple's loot. Academics found 9 like it, all near fire pits. Coincidence, or pyromaniac weavers. You crouch, sunlight fingers through a crack, illuminates a knot unlike the rest. 8 loops, a shepherd's hitch. Wait, it's the same pattern on Turkic saddle cinches. Practical or prank, some apprentices' inside joke surviving centuries. Your pinky traces the twist, feels intentional. Like a Kilroy was here in hemp. Wind sneaks in ropes, sway drunken ballerinas in a silent requiem. Shadows braid themselves on the floor. Your feet disrupt the dance. A ledger from Konya mentions wool tariffs and a cursed tapestry that wept indigo. Lost to time, or folded into these very threads, you half expect the ceiling to sob cerulean tears. Pluck a fiber, it crumbles, silent as a moth's whisper. But rub it, warmth lingers, friction or memory. 10th century weavers knew sheep's wool holds heat better than camel hair. Merchants paid extra for that, then complained about the smell. A bead winks in the debris glass, turquoise with gold flecks. Venetian, too early. Persian, threaded, probably fell off a rich traveler's curtain. Drop it, the click echoes like a tiny gavel. Your crime disturbing the dust bunnies of history. Sun hits a beam, exposes carvings. Stick figure weavers, a donkey, a crescent moon. Graffiti or symbolism. That donkey's ears look suspiciously phallic. Classic, behind it numerals. Roman 12, XIV production counts. Death tallies. Guesswork fuels half the library stacks. Step On a warp thread, it creaks like a mouse's death rattle. The floors littered with wooden pegs, some gnawed, goat teeth marks, or bored children. Diggs found a child's sandal nearby, straps chewed through. Co-sleeping with livestock parenting was different back then. A smell hits lanolin. Sheep oil used to soften fibers, 800 years stale, now closer to Jim's socks, marinated in regret. Archaeologists identified 16 animal fats in these walls. 17th was a mystery, until someone realized, don't ask about the 17th. Shadows retreat as noon approaches, ropes bleach into bone-pale lines. One sways, knots shiver like they're rehearsing a speech. Wind, maybe, or the draft from your own moving lungs, nature's ultimate ventriloquist. Find a reed still threaded, half-rotted, but the weave's intact. Horizontal pattern, not vertical. For decoration, not structure. Brains over brawn, Seljuk style. You tug at dust puffs, form a mini sandstorm. Coughing, you taste someone's 12th century lung butter. Legacies overrated. 3 ropes dangle lower, loop around nothing. Execution knots, unlikely. Scaffolding for repairs, plausible. A Baghdad manuscript describes hanging sick workers to air out fevers. Medical advice aged like milk, left in the sun. Back to the beam. Press your palm where the wood's polished smooth. Generations of hands testing tension, leaving oils and ambition. Your skin's grease will join them, a democracy of DNA in the grain. A rustle above bat wings, or loom weights clattering. Daylight's no excuse for spookiness. The Seljuks believed night weavers' ghosts, finished daylight work. You fake a stitch, wait for spectral applause. Silence, rude. The west wall's darkest, your shadow stretches into a giant's outline. Played this game as a kid, now your hands mimic a weaving dance. Left, right, twist, the floor pattern agrees, approving your poor technique. Find a hair, auburn and coiled. Too long for the average 1100s dude, concubines, horses, DNA tests inconclusive. You twirl it, sunset glints through the strands, someone's vanity, preserved in a spider's supper. Air shifts, coolness slithers down your spine. No window nearby, just the building exhaling centuries of gossip. Your shirt clings damp, ancient sweat meets modern anxiety. The ropes sway out of sync now, mocking your heartbeat. A gut sense says leave, but the exit's half a room away, past more memories than meters. You sidestep a warp hole, trip on a buried stone. Stumble, grip a hanging rope. It holds, then twangs low and resonant. The note lingers, a minor, or maybe grief's natural key. Dust settles, so do you. Back pressed to the wall, watching light dissect the loom's corpse. This place breathes, inhales your noise, exhales patience. You match it, until shadows stretch into blades, and the first star winks through the roof. Your boots crunch over gravel as twilight deepens into something richer. The sky, a bruised plum studded with starry pins. Ahead waits the gate's rusted bell, its iron flaking like dead skin. You circle it. Note the clapper fused to the dome. Centuries of oxidation hold it captive, mid-swing for a beat no one remembers. Run a thumb over the pitted surface. Cold leaches into your nailed. 10th century Seljuks rang these hourly, a perimeter check against wolves and worse. Archaeologists found dog bones buried beneath similar bells, guardians in life and death. A groove mars the metal, 1,000 fingers testing its silence. You press yours there, warmth blooms where others lingered. Wind rolls through the archway, carrying a metallic tang. Not rust, blood. Imagination's theater. A ledger from Aleppo mentions watchmen's noses, rubbed raw by desert air, their sleeves perpetually crusted. You sniff, get a lungful of aridity instead. 13% humidity today, same as a mummy's breath. Kneel, pebbles bite through fabric. The bell's base hides carvings, a scorpion, a crescent, and maim it in clumsy Kufic script. Some kid's homework, or a lover's vandalism. Touch the letters, edges softened by time's thumbs. Historians still argue whether night guards were illiterate muscle or moonlight poets. Stand too fast, headrush blurs the stars. Steady yourself against the arch palm scraping lichen. It clings green and leathery, same species found on Mongolian shrines. How? Trade routes swapped more than spices. Your grip slips, a fingernail tears. Legacy of the clumsy. The bell sways no, just your dizziness. Squint, the chains of fossilized serpent coiled around a beam. One link split, a blacksmith's botched weld. Conservationists debate replacing it. Purists say, let it crumble. You side with entropy. It's had its chorus. Step back, boots echo on purpose. Listen, nothing. But under your pulse, a phantom clang. Brain trick or echo storage. An Ottoman diary claimed bells remember their last ring vibrations trapped in iron. QAnon for medievalists, but you shiver anyway. Moonlight bleeds through the bell's crack, casting a jagged shadow. It stabs your boot, a blade of absence. Move, it follows. Play hopscotch with doom childish. But the watchman's ghost owes you laughter. Find a pebble, quartz veined with copper. Early alarm system. Toss it at the bell. It clicks, falls. No resonance, just a dry click. The silence is loud here, a cathedral of unmet expectations. Spot a splintered stake in the dirt, splinters splayed like wooden lightning. Rammed into the ground to tether the chain, or impale a warning. Texts mention bandit heads on pikes, but this feels smaller, more intimate. Tow it, termites dust the air. Dinner for bats. Check the western horizon, Orion's belt tilts. The Seljuks used it to time patrols. 1 stars dimmer, Betelgeuse acting up again. You count seconds between its flickers. Lose track at 43. Times a necklace with missing beads here. Crouch eye level with the clapper. Corrosion blooms in fractal patterns, rust ivy. Lean closer, your breath fogs the metal. A century of breaths did this. moisture and carbon married to iron. The bell wears its demise beautifully. Standing, notice a nail driven into the arch. Hangs a shred of leather tongue-shaped, flagrum remnant, or a guard's lost chin strap. Touch it, crumbles. Everything here resists your grip, history's greased pig. Wind shifts, brings the scent of sage. Not the plant, the smoke. Distant Bedouins. Your nose betrays logic, conjures campfires from void. A 2010 study claimed desert air preserves odors like resin sniff hard enough. Taste Marco Polo's farts. The bell's shadow stretches, reaches your ankle like a shackle. Step away, feel the desert watching. 1,000 eyes in the rock, night's pupil dilated. You're the intruder here, every atom votes you out. Reach for the clapper, it's velvet rough, pull no give. It's wedged or wishes to be. Your arm trembles, pathetic ancestor to the ox who swung this daily. Let go, pinky bleeding. The bell shrugs, back against the wall it's warm. Sun's residual kindness. Slide down, sit in the watchman's squat. His knees left dents in the stone, see the smooth patches. Your own joints bark in solidarity. Moon climbs. The bell's crack widens into a grin. Starless black through the rift, a mouth hungry for secrets. You have none worth swallowing. Stand, brush off dust that clings like gunpowder. One slow orbit around the bell, your shadow merges with its stain. A night bird cries, the pitch matches the bell's lost note. Coincidence or cosmic trolling? You pocket a rust flake, souvenir or future tetanus. Either way, it's yours. Walk backward, gaze locked on the bell, until distance blurs it. Turn your shoulders lighter. The watchman's shift ended long ago. Now you carry his absence forward, a vacancy shaped like iron. You step into the groaning dark. Every footprint stirs cinnamon from the earth. Phantom camel bells jingle in your ears, a tinnitus of the past. The air thickens, 3 parts dust to 1 part clove oil. Breathe through your teeth. Taste the Silk Road's grocery list. A mound of peppercorns fossilizes underfoot, black beads from Malabar coast jungles. 6th century ledgers logged pepper as currency. 10 pounds could buy a warhorse. Crush one between molars. Fire floods your sinuses. Tears blur the moon. Orion sweats now too. Silk unfurls from broken jars. Century-sunken brocade hugged by dirt. Unwrap a scrap. Mandarin ducks frozen mid-courtship. Yuan dynasty excess. Their emperors wore dragon robes weighing 9 pounds. This shreds lighter, threadbare from bartering through 13 kingdoms. Hear that? A snort huff rhythm, pressure in your sternum. Not lungs, camel knees popping as they fold. 16 desert schooners docking in unison. Historians still argue whether caravans train them to kneel, or if it's collective arthritis. A pottery shard stabs your heel vengeance for broken craftsmanship. Ottoman tulip designs curl underfoot, their empire's pride reduced to caltrops. Suck the wound, iron tang cuts the spice fog. Salt anyone. Moonlight licks a spilled merchant's pouch, turquoise beads wink in the grit. Lapis from Afghanistan, jade flecks, hacked from cotton mines, scoop a handful, stones click like gambling dice. Winners built palaces, losers fed vultures near Samarkand. A tarnished scale tips in the wind, chains screeching like a wronged cat. Place a pebble on one tray, watch it defy rust. Fair trade died here, the dust is still owed weight. Fingernail a clay seal stamp of a two-humped camel. Royal courier package, tax-free passage across 7 sultanates. Melted wax clings under cuticles, sweat-resistant diplomacy. Your skin now archives state secrets. Wooden crates splinter into soil. Saffron threads vein the earth like orange lightning. Spanish traders paid in silver. Arabs bartered pearls. 1 gram cost a laborer's month. Now it seasons your next breath. Spot a prayer rug fused to the ground. Moths ate the green, left red sins exposed. Kneel, pebbles mimic prayer beads. Your kneecaps preach heresy. Wind unearths a scroll scrap, dealing in slaves and saltpeter. 15 dinars for a Circassian girl, 20 for gunpowder-grade piss. Turn it over child's drawing of a date palm. The real ledger, beneath a collapsed awning, glass perfume bottles neck-deep in sand. Rose adder from Shiraz turns to vinegar after 2 centuries. Unscrew 1 reek of forgotten promenades, of wrists offered and denied. A mummified ferret crumbles underfoot, pet or pest. Its collar bears CX. Mongol script, the great Khan's messengers used them to sneak through sieges. Apologies to Genghis and his furry spies. Bend to examine date pits, ritualistically arranged, or constipation art. Scholars found similar piles near merchant privies, 11th century fiber supplements. Scatter them, play God with digestion history. Canvas fragments flap like dying kites, spun from Samarkand cotton. So fine vendors submerged it in jugs to prove thread count. Grab a flap, it disintegrates, flight cancelled. Dig a thumb into packed earth, hit metal. A Sogdian coin, King Varkuman's squinty profile. His realm thrived on middleman taxes until it didn't. Heads or tails, still bankruptcy, here humming. Your own throat, mimicking camel driver's chants. They sang to outwit djinn rhythm as hoof insurance. The melody sticks. Now you're the desert elevator music. Lichen crawls over a water skin, leather turned to jerky. Tactical mistake. Sold 83 goats for half full, only to guzzle brine. Chew a corner, regret transcends eras. Starlight catches a snapped ostrich plume, used to dust off silk before buyers. Flick it, mites erupt like punctuation marks. Allergists weren't invited on this trek. The caravan's absence presses heavier now, a parenthesis waiting to close. Walk backward. Let cinnamon coat your spine. Those camels have ghost routines to keep. Step on a fig sole squelches through centuries of fructose. Wasps died mid-banquet, wings preserved in syrup. Sweetness outlives its guests every time. Moon bleeds out, dawn threatens invoices. You pocket a turquoise, leave a copper coin. Debt collectors patrol the light, better flee through the night's remaining velvet. Velvet bleeds to navy, the Milky Way pierces the Caravanserai's oculus like a spear through papyrus. You pivot, aligning your hips with camels that aren't there until the stars click into grids. Bedouin guides once navigated these same constellations. Orion's belt a camel's ribcage, the Big Dipper a watering scoop. Modern GPS would have spared 9 out of 10 lost traders. But where's the poetry in that? Cold seeps through your souls, flagstones still hoarding midnight's chill. Tip your head back. Let starlight colonize your retinas. Ancient manuals claim each bright spot matches a desert well. Though half those oases dried up before Caesar got stabbed. A bat flits through the galactic stream, rippling the map like a pebble tossed by God. Spot the cluster they called Al-Najm al-Waki, the falling star. 10th century astronomers swore it foretold sandstorms. You just see a cosmic sneeze. Wipe imaginary dust off your sleeve. Here's the party trick. Squint until stars smear. Those blurs. Nomads saw scimitars, scorpions, a pregnant mare mid-gallop. Historians still argue whether these shapes guided travelers or just gave drunks something to debate over date wine. You trace a wobbling sword, its tip grazing Saturn. At least 3 empires fell under this alignment. Coincidence or causality? The stars aren't snitching. A meteor scars the sky streak of molten mineral. Make a wish, but whisper it. Caravan legends say shooting stars are eavesdropping djinn. Wish for water. They'll smirk and send mirages. Wish for wealth. Prepare for a saddlebag full of scorpions. Smart travelers wished for sore feet. The one desire the desert always grants. That smudge northwest, maybe the lost constellation Al-Jamal al-Adesh. The thirsty camel. Persian astrologers charted it during the Great Drought, then forgot it when rains returned. Its nose points to vapor trails from Silk Road campfires. Long cooled ash carried on comet tails. You mimic its arched neck, vertebrae crackling like a misfiring musket. Count 7 stars in perfect unison, then lose track at 4. Pre-Islamic poets linked the Pleiades to throat necklaces. Bedouins saw a hen's footprint. It's the universe's light bright set after a toddler rampage. Find the dimmest one, that's your future. Wait, did it just flicker? Probably a satellite, or your optimism dying. Breeze rifles through your hair, same currents that ruffled Kublai Khan's messengers. They carried star charts sealed with mutton fat, coordinates smudged by greasy fingerprints. You've got better odds, an app on your phone. But service died 40 miles back, along with your faith in 5G. The moon's a no-show, banished by some celestial overtime. Good, its glare erases the lesser stars, bullying the sky into monochrome. Tonight's all about the B-team constellations, the ones that glow like pawnshop diamonds. Cassiopeia's chair becomes a camel's saddle. Draco coils into a broken shackle, recycling metaphors since 3000 BCE. Dig nails into mortar. Ancient stargazers did the same during eclipses. Their panic lingers in the grit. Predictable, nothing scares humans like their light source playing dead. You half expect the stars to vanish next, replaced by a cosmic out-of-order sign. Breath fogs the air, your personal nebula. Inhale it back, taste yesterday's dust and poor decisions. 12 generations of merchants did this exact cyan recycle routine. They're why the Milky weighs 4% body odor now. Left foot freezes, right foot's asleep. Compromise on a drunken sway. Your body imitating Earth's axial tilt. A drunk's as reliable as Polaris after date wine. Speaking of find the North Star, there, wedged between two crenellations, stable as a tax collector's heart. All other stars pirouette around it, diva of the northern sky. Wish you'd brought a spyglass. Too late. 9th century scholars used hollowed ostrich femurs. You've got a rolled up guidebook. Unfurl it, pages flap like a grounded pigeon. Directions now say turn left at the rocks. Follow smell of regret. An owl hoots, the only applause you'll get tonight. It's seen a million humans gaze up dumbstruck, brief fireflies against the desert's wristwatch. You clap back, the stars don't even blink. Dawns a rumor in the east, indigo seeping into the narrative. One last stellar bargain. Find the winking merchant asterism before sunrise, supposedly marks where a smuggler buried sapphires under a sickly juniper. You scan, squint, give up. Either way, the real treasure's not shitting sand for a week. Cradle the back of your skull. Let the oculus frame your view. The Milky weighs a noose, a bridle, a smuggler's secret tunnel. Depends who's desperate. Your eyes flutter shut, constellations tattoo the lids. They'll linger till noon, faint roadmap stains on a tourist's imagination. Kneeling cracks your knees like walnut shells. The moth-eaten rug grinds grit into your shins. It stinks of sheep fat and decades. Devotions, musk clinging to every frayed thread. You face a smeared Qibla arrow. On the wall, 10th century Muslims aligned themselves, using pigeons' flight patterns before someone invented compasses. Nice upgrade, less guessing, fewer confused birds. Cobwebs sag where prayer beads once dangled dusty chandeliers for paranoid spiders. Your pinky brushes a carpet thread. Snap, it dissolves into ochre powder. Faint indents remain where foreheads dug into fibers. Devout pressure preserved like fossils. Historians still argue whether Caravanserai travelers performed ablutions with sand or just spat on their hands and called it holy. To your left, a niche crammed with candle stubs. Waxy stalactites droop, failed attempts to bribe the dark. The rug's central medallion resembles a sun swallowed by clouds, or a dropped lentil platter. You shift, your kneecap finds a particularly vengeful stone. Caravans brought Sufi mystics here, men who prayed with one eye on God and one on merchants unattended spice sacks. Their breath still heathens the air, whispers of lopped-off thief hands and divine mercy. Press your palms flat, feel the uneven warp and weft. Some fibers glint metallic, silk threads smuggled from Isfahan, or just mica flakes, rubbed raw by desperation. A fringe fact floats up. Medieval pilgrims sowed sand from Mecca's dunes into these rugs. You pick at a suspicious bulge, get a thumbnail of dirt for your trouble. Smells like someone bottled disappointment. Leaning back, you spot charcoal graffiti, a doodled camel hump, cross-eyed and lopsided. Beside it, angular script etches Yusuf was here, the 10th century equivalent of tagging a bathroom stall. Wind whistles through a crack in the wall, shredding the F into oblivion. Yusu was. Your spine protests this archaeologist cosplay. Stand too fast, the room tilts like a drunk mule. Shadows surge into the space you vacated, eager squatters reclaiming holy ground. That indigo patch on the wall, not mold, centuries of coal smudged from worshippers' eyelids. They swore it warded off evil eye. Modern science blames bacterial infections. Duck under the low archway, forehead kissing timber, worn smooth by cowled heads. Your phone's flashlight exposes a corner stash. Fossilized dates fused with rat droppings. Scholars found similar nooks in Aleppo, emergency snacks for travelers mid-prayer. Bon appetit. Something crunches under heel, a clay prayer tablet snapped in two. Half bears Allah's name, half a goat's hoofprint. Sufis debated whether this counted as scripture or just a really pious goat. The rug's tassels curl like dead locust legs. You count 1920, lose focus. Quranic verses recommend odd numbers for spiritual harmony. Someone flunked math class. Outside, a jackal howls, the muezzin of scavengers. Your elbow knocks a loose brick, hollow thump echoing like a tomb's hiccup. Scratch patrol reveals nothing but a dried scorpion, its tail poised to strike yesterday. Classic Caravanserai prank. Eternal vigilance was the original influencer. Candle wax pools resemble miniature Milky Ways, frozen tributaries of half-answered prayers. You pocket a blobby one gilt pecs like a sparrow. 7 centuries ago, this theft would have cost you a hand. Progress. Fingers skim the Qibla arrow again. Plaster flakes cling to your prints. Magnetic north shifted 2 degrees since this was carved. Every compass in here's a liar, hence the pigeon method. Coup once for Mecca, twice for Alexandria. Dust motes swarm your exhalations, a galaxy in every breath. Sufis called this seeing God's eyelash. You call it allergies. Kneel once more, the imprints deepen, forehead to fiber. You become another layer in the sediment of please and thank you. When archaeologists dig here next, they'll find your DNA squished between a silk trader and a homesick nun. Dawn leaks through cracks, pink tendrils dissolving night's ink. The rug drinks the light, transforming from sepia to blood rust. You rise, knees popping like celebratory gunfire, and leave the imprint of your doubts in the wool. Grit coats your palms like a second skin. Each finger swipe reveals more beneath the dust's thin veil. You kneel, denim scraping stone, and sweep a hand through the silt. Particles swirl gold in slanting light, a desert's breath held captive for centuries. Beneath lies a mosaic shard, ceramic blue, so vivid it hums. Kingfisher wing bright, the exact hue Persian poets called the sky's first sigh after rain. Seljuk builders favored these tiles, crushed lapis lazuli mixed with glass. Prestige measured in Afghan mining caravans lost to bandits. 8 men died hauling 1 block here, or so the ledgers claim. Your nail chips the edge. Suddenly, you're an accomplice to history's decay. Priceless artifact vandalism, 50 cents per scrape. Sand mummifies everything it touches. Unpeel a layer, find fossilized olive pits, a leather buckle, a child's ivory dice. Nomads played shatranj here while camels groaned, their bets placed in salt cubes and promises. That crusty lump near your knee, not a rock, a petrified apricot. Its sweetness leached into the greed of flies. Sift deeper palmfuls, cascading through fingers like hourglass grains. Archaeologists once found a Roman coin in this layer, Emperor Hadrian's profile worn to a ghost. How it arrived here, a century after his reign, camel luggage mishap, or a drunk merchant's lucky charm. The sand guards its punchlines. Wind rifles through arrow slits, sculpting dunes across the floor. You resist the urge to write your name. Yusuf's lopsided camel grins from a fresco nearby. History favors the shameless. Instead, trace a tile's curve, edges softened by time's insistent rub. Scholars debate whether these blues mimicked water for parched travelers, or symbolized the divine's infinite depth. Meanwhile, your throat's as dry as a tax collector's ledger. Something glints, a glass bead fused to a tile, heat warped during some long ago fire. Now it winks like a miniature moon. Merchants sewed these into headscarves, bargaining chips for desperate nights. You pocket it, theft feels lighter when everyone's bones are dust. A crack splits the wall ahead, sand trickles through like an overturned god's hourglass. Press an ear to the fissure. A granular whisper slithers through. Sandstone tells no secrets, only gossip. 14 meters down, groundwater still weeps, if you believe the core samples. Your tongue touches grit, an instinct as old as thirst. Peel back a crumbling brick, powdered clay rains on your boots. Behind it, fingerprints, a dozen whorls pressed into the mortar, masons marking shifts like criminal confessions. Match your thumb to one, they're smaller. Slave labor, child apprentices. The desert's egalitarian, that way it swallows, all resumes equally. Shadows stretch clawed fingers across the tiles. Your heel grinds something brittle, a locust husk mummified mid-crawl. Its wing cases flare open, eternal defiance against some long-dead predator. Grumpy entomologists insist they're migratory. Your gut says it died, fleeing a shoeless kid's mischief. Sunset bleeds through dust-choked windows, the blue tiles transforming from cerulean to bruised violet. One shard winks ultraviolet, a trick of fading light or some alchemist's lost recipe. They milled mumia powder into glaze sometimes, ground up mummies stolen from Egyptian tombs. Health and safety wasn't big in the 12th century. Digging further risks the floor's integrity and your dignity if it collapses. But there, another shard, this one etched with half a star. Seljuk constellations mapped trade routes. Connect the dots and reach Samarkand. Your boot taps the pattern 4 centuries later. A jazz pianist will riff the same rhythm. Wind slithers through cracks, a hiss sandpapered smooth. Close your eyes. It could be the desert exhaling, or the collective sigh of 1,000 vanished merchants. Their silk molds in European chapels now. Their spices flavor soups in Mumbai slums. Only the sand remains. Patiently erasing resumes. Brush your sleeve across a tile cluster, reveals a graffiti scorpion. Crudely drawn pincers snipping at a stick figure camel. Caravan kids game, lethal version of tag. Flip a palm, grit nestles into lifelines. Read your fortune, beware of toothless poets and cheap saffron. The last light dies. Your phone's flashlight exposes quartz glitter fake stars for the underwhelmed tourist. Crouch lower. Suddenly the floor's a galaxy, every granule a planet, crushed civilizations orbiting your knees. The Seljuks called sand God's eraser. You call it the original glitter bomb. Stand too fast, hips protest, legs prickling with resurrected nerves. Sand cascades from your clothes. A personal dust storm with mediocre range. Historians still argue whether builders intentionally mixed glass with tiles, or some stoned apprentice dumped his mead by the mortar vat. One tile, its glaze warped into a sneer, sides with the drunk. Your shadow stretches east, tile shards, glinting underfoot like shattered icebergs. Leave them buried. Let the next curious fool dig their own holes. Sand sighs, content once more in its shallow grave. Your shadow brushes the eastern arch, its stones warmer than the surrounding walls. 2 lions frame the passage, their paws larger than your torso. Time has sanded their faces into Rorschach blots, guardians, or overgrown housecats. You lean closer. Someone chiseled their Monets in cascading waves, frozen motion defying the desert stillness. Seljuk sculptors loved these door beasts. Replicas prowl Anatolian mosques from Konya to Divrigi. But here's the kicker. The left lion's mouth gapes tongueless. Storytellers claim it ate a vizier's confession, then refused to regurgitate even under torture. Now it guards rumors, harems, poisoned feasts, smuggled Nestorian Bibles. Run a thumb over the smoothed fangs, cold as a banker's smile. Weathering erased details, but not the paws. 3 claws per foot, not 5. Historians still argue whether that's symbolic numerology or a carver who'd never seen an actual lion. They've clearly never met a sleep-deprived artisan on deadline. Sunlight stripes the archway. You step into the lion's shadow. The missing tongue's cavity feels magnetic, like it might suction secrets straight from your lungs. An urge to whisper something treasonous, how you cheated on third-grade math quizzes, or ate the last baklava at yesterday's hostel. Temptation fades. Some vaults should stay sealed. Wind funnels through the arch. A low moan skirts your ears. Acoustic fluke, or stone lungs exhaling. The right lion's ear shows tool marks, crude repairs after an earthquake. Ottoman tax records mention temple lions losing heads to tremors in 1703. But tongues, nature's not that surgical. Crouch, check the plinth. Wavy lines mimic water, or maybe wheat sheaves. A child's doodle hides near the base, stick figure lion chasing a smudged blob. Ancient vandal or bored 1920s archaeologist. You snap a photo. The flash makes the stone sneeze silica dust. Moonlight now. The tongueless Lion Chinese letter S. Jaw seems to sag lower. Cross the threshold backwards. Superstition nipping your rational hindbrain. Nothing changes. Just twin shadows merging into one elongated beast on the tiles. Lean against the arches, curve, your shoulder fits where 1,000 others pressed. Guards, merchants, fugitives, all leaving oil and salt residue. A repair patch gleams darker, 19th century cement made with goat milk and egg whites. Sturdier than modern concrete, unless you're vegan. Your phone light exposes mortar lines, fingerprints swirl within the mixture. Same tiny whorls as the brickworkers earlier. Slave children tamping down history's glue. The right lion's chest bears a chiseled heart, crude but precise. Love note or mason's quality control stamp. Wind sneaks through again, this time whistling a 3-note tune. Cover the tongueless lion's mouth. The sound stops mid-phrase. Coincidence or architecture as divine wind instrument. Bedouin guides swear these arches sing during sirocco's, provided you've paid them enough. Rain rarely visits, but when it does, the lions weep red streaks. Iron oxide in the stone bleeding out, or so geologists insist. Your fingertip finds a dry rust channel, cracked like a MISPL, a CED, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Back away. The guardians shrink to silhouette cutouts. They're blank, eyes follow a trick of parallax and guilt. University types drone about apotropaic functions, warding off evil through stone stairs. You've met enough modern evils that laugh at masonry. One last glance, the tongueless one's posture seems resigned. Protector of a dead trade route, silenced by time's eraser. You mimic its open-mouthed expression, dry tongue sticking out. The desert swallows the gag without comment. Your fingers brush cool clay, a cup overturned centuries ago. Its curve fits your palm too perfectly, either universal design or you've got 10th century peasant hands. Turn it, sludge stains the rim, evaporated wine turned to abrasive dust. Inhale, imagination supplies musky undertones, fig and regret. 3. Massive fermentation. Vats hunch nearby, their bellies scarred by fire. Seljuk trade logs mention honey brews stored here Chinese letter grade mead for ambassadors. Local tales claim masons mixed fig pulp into mortar, sweetness seeping into every sip. You lick a crack, regret instantly. Tastes like limestone and poor decisions. A rusted ladle hangs from a hookah frozen in mid-pour. Sunlight slants through a high slit, spotlighting froth patterns etched into the floor. Sticky puddles fossilized, nature's spill guard. Kick a pebble, it skitters into a drainage channel. Roman engineering meets Seljuk ingenuity, gravity, doing the janitorial work. Crouch, check the mortar lines. Fig seeds nestle in cracks, some sprouting stunted leaves. Anthropologists found similar specimens in Konya's palace walls, accidental herb gardens. But these, too symmetrical. A brewer's flavor experiment, or kids shoving snacks into crevices. One vat's lid sits askew. Peek inside. Cobwebs bridge the void like ancient vintner lace. Spiders inherited the family business, their silk farmed by clueless flies. A carved date hides under the rim, 587. AHCE carving at a kegger. History's drunk texts. Your shadow stretches across the crusted floor, a Rorschach blot even Freud wouldn't touch. Step back, heel grinds something. A clay token, stamped with crossed spoons. Chips in taverns traded these for thirds. Medieval drink tickets, finders keepers, drop it in your pocket. Tomorrow's problem. Wind whistles through the slit, high notes bouncing off curved walls. Hum a tavern tune. The acoustics warp it into a dirge. Historians still argue whether these vats held celebratory wines or medicinal tonics, judging by the stain patterns both, often simultaneously. Scrape a nail along the wall, orange powder sheets off. Saffron, turmeric, dried pomegranate rind. Trade ledgers list 43 spices stocked here. None surviving inventory. Your fingertip stings, centuries-old capsaicin playing the long game. A broken amphora leans in the corner, its shards reassembled with gold resin. Kintsugi before it was Tokyo trendy. Touch the gleaming veins, cold perfection. Someone cherished this enough to mend, then left it behind. Priorities shift when the caravan horn blows. Bend, study the floor's slope, genius-grade drainage, until you spot the mouse skull wedged in a grout line. Mortality via mead trap, a Viking funeral at 1/12 scale. Sunset drips, honey light through the slit. The tallest vat glows, makeshift sundial. Shadows climb its belly, time measured in fermented increments. You stand where barkeeps yelled last call. To drunk silk traders. The only voice now, a dove cooing in the oculus. Reach for the ladle, it crumbles like sandstone shortbread. Handle fragments skitter into darkness, a brittle serenade. Your phone light catches a graffiti line. Yusuf was here, avoid the apricot batch. Solid advice, then and now. Moonrise now, the room steeped in pewter tones. That cup still winks up, tempting a refill. You pour imaginary wine, watch moonlight pool in its belly. A toast to the unknown brewer, their recipe lost to thirsty microbes. Wind shifts, carrying cumin and diesel from the modern highway. Time folds camels braying over truck horns. The vats shiver, or maybe you do. Touch the cool clay, anchor yourself back to now. As you exit, a fig seedling taps your ankle. Growth defying all logic, like hope. Step over it gently. Some legacies deserve a fighting chance. The cracked cup still warms your palm. Its phantom wait a goodbye gift from the brewer's ghost. You step into the stable annex. Leather hits your nose first, not that designer store tang. This stench sticks. Aged sweat, walnut oil, the musky grief of 10,000 saddle-sore travelers. Sunset bleeds through arrow slits, striping the wall of hanging straps. They dangle like gutted snakes, all darkened, where shoulders ground against them for centuries. Seljuk saddles were padded with felted camel hair. Historical texts cite walnut oil treatments for weatherproofing. You press a palm where rider met rigging, the wood's warmth surprising. Not residual heat, just memory masquerading as physics. One strap's buckle clinks, engraved with interlocked triangles. Crusader motifs snuck into Seljuk gear, or coincidence. The metal leaves a coppery kiss on your thumb. Taste test confirms. Regret. Kneel, inspect the peg below. Grooves from countless ropes, a palm's width apart. Imagine the rhythm, hands looping, cinching, cursing stubborn camels. Your fingers drift to the deepest notch, blisters turn to legend. A shredded saddle blanket pools on the floor, moth-eaten, but still proud. Rub the frayed edge, it dissolves into gold dust. No pollen or ancient horse dander, either way, sneeze incoming. 3 pegs stand empty. Ottoman records mention thefts, pilgrims swiping relics for good luck. One account describes a trader stealing his mule's favorite hitching ring. Tragic reunion at Damascus Gate. Your shadow climbs the straps, morphing into a hunchbacked merchant. Adjust your stance. Now you're a spry stable hand. The room recalibrates with each pose, eternal game of historical dress-up. A glint under the hay pile, fish it out a toe ring. Silver, tin, its tiny bell silenced by grime. Shake it, a faint wheeze. Tether bells jingled on pack animals, allegedly warded off scorpions. You slip it on, just in case. Dust motes swirl in the dying light, swarming like gnats over long-gone beasts. Camel humps cast phantom shadows, grand dunes in reverse. Breathe deep, catch echoes of dung fires and rosewater tonics. One wall's stones bow outward, buckling under gossip. Press your ear, faint clinks. Archaeologists mapped a buried well beneath this spot. Wind might rattle its chain. Or maybe coin hoards shift in their clay pots. Focus on the largest strap, grain worn smooth. Centuries of thumbs testing tension. You mimic the gesture, leather size. A splinter bites payback for romanticizing manual labor. Sun dips lower. Now only 3 fingers of light remain. They crawl up the wall, illuminating graffiti. stick figure camels, a lopsided star, squiggles that might be a merchant's curse or a love note. Kick over a rotted bucket, motherlode of rusted nails, farrier supplies or torture devices, depends on the day. One's twisted into a heart or a failed horseshoe. Wind shoulders through the entry, bringing mall aromas from 2 miles west. Fry oil and regret. Blink, suddenly smells of sesame cakes charring on a brazier. Snap back, the present's clingy. The closest peg sports a hairline crack. Tap it, hollow sound. X-ray studies revealed similar posts stuffed with rags, makeshift rodent deterrent. Reach in cobwebs. Always cobwebs, moon muscles in frosting everything. The straps become monochrome tattoos on silvered walls. Flex your hand, that phantom cup still burns. 2 obsessions for the road. A black stain beneath the window, fuel spill. Blood. Historians still argue whether stable floors mark accidents or makeshift shrines. You trace its edges, outlines a beast mid-leap. Distant engines howl their vibrations, trembling through stone. The final sunbeam surrenders. In the dark, the leather whispers louder, secrets safe from archivists. Reach once more, let oil stain your skin. Temporary tattoos trump permanent regrets. Turn to leave, your stolen toe ring tolls. The emptied pegs creak, audience bidding adieu. Step into the courtyard, where real stars now blink, cold and indisputable. The stars above hold their breath as you crouch, knees popping before the niche. 12 sparrow skulls stare back, arranged with military precision. Their beaks aim east toward dawn's slow crawl. You count vertebrae stacked like miniature prayer beads, brittle and yellowed as old piano keys. Historians debate whether these were offerings or warnings. Djinn, detergents versus mortal pleas. One theory claims Seljuk travelers swallowed sparrow tongues for eloquence, though that's probably someone's grad school fantasy. Your pinky brushes a skull. It tilts, whispering against stone. A feather drifts down, still barred with desert filth. Snap it, the hollow shaft disintegrates. Biologists insist these birds migrated with caravans, feasting on grain spills. You picture the final feast, a merchant's spilled fig bag, decades of tiny banquets. Moonlight catches a claw fossilized in dust. Use your phone light. Hamdanuris would have used oil lamps. The talons clench nothing, or something too small to see. Lean closer, smell lingering musk. Not decay, sharp and herbal. Myrrh, mummification paste. The largest skull bears a drilled hole, string long since dissolved. Archaeologists found similar charms in Uzbekistan, strung around infants' necks. Protection against night terrors, or early redundancy plans for underwhelming talismans. Your shadow engulfs the display, skulls now pupils in a giant eye. Shift left, they transform into peaked desert dunes. This trick works better with wine, but imagination's free. A chipmunk chitters outside, modern interloper. Its ancestors probably stole offerings gorged on millet meant for ghosts. You press a fingertip to the niche's edge, gritty with mineral deposits. Tastes like someone licked a battery. 3 skulls show filed teeth, delicate grooves. Some scholars' paper claims this denoted sacred messenger birds. Others say bored stable hands. You file a thumbnail against stone, same result. Occupational hazard. Wind funnels through the niche, a reedy whistle. Cover one ear, it becomes a child's flute. Bedouin tales speak of bird-bone pipes summoning sandstorms. Unluckily for you, it's breezy already. One vertebra rolls free, nestles in your palm. Hold it to the moon, porous bone glows like lace. Pocket it, feel the weight of 12 curses or blessings. Placebo effect kicks in immediately. The back walls plaster flakes under inspection, revealing charcoal sketches. Stick figure birds, a lopsided nest. Modern taggers, 8th century board kid, carbon dating's a buskill. Let mystery ferment. Your knee protests, time to stand. Skulls regain their sternness, judges of hasty exits. Blink, their hollow sockets seem deeper. Optical illusion, or the myrrh smell thickening. A 2013 dig here uncovered bronze bells beneath the niche each, containing a single bone shard. Conservationists fought over displaying them. The bones now mold in a Tehran warehouse. Bureaucracy, the true soul leader. Rub your eyes when they refocus. One skull's missing. Swivel there on the ledge. Must have brushed it earlier, or it recoiled from your caffeine breath. Either way, dignity intact. Below the niche, 3 shallow bowls carved into stone, offerings evaporated, wine, milk, mercury. The smallest holds dead beetles, recent pilgrims, or antlion takeout. Your stolen vertebra warms, or your palm sweats. Either way, time to leave. Stand too fast, skulls rattle in disapproval. Spine vertebrae echo the sound, biological solidarity. Moonlight shifts, skulls gain halos. Saintly sparrows, the Nicene Council never mentioned them, but councils skip agenda items. You make the sign of the cross, then a jazz hands flourish. Cover all bases. Shadows bleed together. The niche becomes a cave mouth. Imagination's draft gives you chills, or the scuttle of chitinous legs. Those beetles look reproductive. Step back, skulls shrink into harmless artifacts. The wind dyes their silent judgment lingering. You pat the pocket, vertebra pulses like a misplaced heartbeat. Djinn insurance, or just gas from lunch. Footsteps echo in the corridor, yours, but heavier. Turn nothing but your shadow wearing a feathered cape. Blame the vertebra or credit it, depending. Dawn's first smear grays the east. The niche gathers shadows like folded wings. One skull winks, probably a trick of erosion. By the postcard anyway. Moonlight slants through crumbling brickwork. Your shadow pools around a single tile. Its cobalt glaze outshines neighbors. A cerulean island in terracotta seas. You crouch where the eastern corridor meets the central dome knees, protesting against 7 centuries of flooring. Dust, motes swirl, where your breath disturbs air older than Columbus's blundered vacation plans. The tile glints, not a chip or scratch. Seljuk builders often signed works with hidden motifs, a rebellion against anonymity decreed by some patrons. Your thumbnail traces grooves between geometric patterns, then freezes there near the edge, a whorl pressed into wet clay. Light your phone, inhale sharply. A thumbprint. Archaeologists identified similar marks in Esfahan's Jame Mosque, craftsmen leaving literal fingerprints on history. Yours hovers above it, millimeters from touching. The kiln's fire died in 1243, but warmth lingers in imagination. Press, pad to pad, skin meeting spectral residue. A car honks 2 valleys away, 21st century, interrupting 13th. You grin, both thumbs share the same lupin arch pattern. Basic biometrics span 800 years. Take that. Facial recognition software. Wind riffles your hair, same breeze that dried this clay. Workers likely hauled water from the cistern downstairs. Now home to albino scorpions. A 12th century scroll claims architects baked camel hair into tiles for luck. Find 3 strands glowing gold at dawn. Peel your gaze upward. Just spider silk. The surrounding mosaic depicts overlapping circles, Seljuk specialty, but erosion simplifies art. Where others faded to ghosts, your tile's signature thrives. Conservationists would cringe at your proximity, but rigor mortis catches no memories. Kneel closer, nose almost touching glaze. Faint ridges remain the potter's unique swirls preserved under glass smooth finish. Historians still argue whether these marks indicated pride or pleas for divine recognition. You blow dust, the print darkens, own breath, animating a stranger's labor. A bat squeaks overhead, winged landlord checking renovations. Your phone dies, cobalt blue dims to river mud. Wait, did the tile shift? No, just blood flow, resuming in numb legs. Stand, joints cracking like kindling. Moonlight reclaims the print. Your skin memory holds its shape. Modernity intrudes. Imagine this artisan's Yelp review. Decent pay, but the demon summoning during coffee breaks got old. The wall whispers, plaster flakes tickling your collar. Pocket a shard, feel the crime. Guilt or kinship. 20 generations ago, someone pressed clay and vanished. You press a receipt to damp lips. Ink transfers faintly. Wind rises, scented with diesel now. Dawn's first blush pinks the dome. That thumbprint outlived empires, Mongol hordes, Instagram. Tomorrow it'll still whisper I existed, while your texts drown in read receipts. Shadows retreat, revealing a second mark below the first. Smaller, a child's fingerprint. Tehran University ceramics analysis proved apprentices as young as 6 shaped tiles. Your chest tightens. Think of primary school field trips versus child labor bingo. Step back, whole wall swims into focus. Only this tile holds dual signatures, mentor and learner. parent and child. The debate fuels monographs, but your knees vote for coffee. A beetle scuttles over your shoe, tour guide in reverse. Follow it. The tiles blur into a cerulean river. Your thumb pulses where ancient ridges linger, deja vu without the vu. Somewhere, a siren wails modern agony. Here, dust settles on two sets of whorls, one fresher than desert air. Centuries collapse like nested dolls. You walk backward through kiln smoke. Dawn bleaches stars, and the architect's final plea, remember me. You photograph the tile, then delete it. Some secrets prefer shadows. Pocket the shard sharp as an unsent reply. Your heel knocks against something hollow. A cracked vial rolls into starlight. Indigo stains its throat. Once liquid wealth from Afghan mines, now crusted to dust. Seljuk scribes hoarded this stuff. Like gamers clutch energy drinks. Each drop documented caravan taxes in meticulous loops. You swipe a finger inside, pigment clings like powdered twilight. Imagine robes rustling, reed pens scritching, this corner buzzing with mercantile gossip. That stain on the wall, probably where someone flung a quill after third shift ledger work. Kneeling, you spot spiderweb cracks in the floor, inkwell storage gone wrong. Historians still argue whether records used numeric symbols or just sheep-based metaphors. Your nail digs out a fleck, popped into your palm like forbidden glitter. Moonlight transforms dust to constellations. 800 years ago, this speck colored a ledger entry, 3 bolts silk, 17 jars saffron, 1 drunk camel liability waiver. The scribe's candle would have guttered in this same draft, ankle deep in trader tall tales. A 2013 dig near Aleppo found ink pots with fossilized spider silk, turns out arachnid threads, prevented clumping. You squint. Does that shard glint with microscopic webbing? Or just mica from your jacket? Blow gently, indigo motes rise in a miniature sandstorm. Your phone's flashlight reveals handprints on the ceiling, 7 fingers per impression. Kidding, but wouldn't that spice up academic journals? Palm the vial. Cold seeps through your sleeve, October nights bite here. By day, this room stored dates, and Cumin by night. It birthed trade empires inked in braille-thick script. Lean against the wall, plaster flakes whisper secrets into your hoodie. Someone scratched a game board into the floor, Mongol checkers. Stress relief for bureaucrats. You trace the grid of capitalism's ancestor, etched by underpaid clerks. A beetle trundles across the lines, living game piece. Roll antiquities D20, little dude. The inkwell's broken lip mirrors your chipped molar, both survivors of impacts, better left unmentioned. Pocketing it feels like theft. But isn't all archaeology justified kleptomania? Wind sneaks through a wall slit, carrying phantom scents of cumin and camels. Your vial warms against your thigh, a 12th century paperweight still on the clock. Somewhere below, a stone shifts, time's joints creaking. You freeze, half expecting a scroll to materialize midair. 14 lines of poetry hover in your mind, dissolve unspoken. Dawn's first gray smudges the eastern wall. This ink once recorded debts, spanning Baghdad to Beijing. Now it smears under your thumbprint. That Afghan miner who dug the indigo, did he ever taste mangoes bought with his labor? History forgets answer keys. A truck rumbles in the valley, pallet swap from camel caravans. You etch your name in dust, with the vile watch dawn breeze erase it. Backspace of the ages, the indigo fingerprints you leave now mirror the scribes, separated by centuries, united by stationary addiction. Their caffeine, bitter almond tea, yours, vending machine espresso. Evolution's a circle. Dawn bleeds pale gold through the eastern arch. Your shadow stretches long as departing traders fade. Their silhouettes dissolve into light, swallowed by the desert's hungry mouth. Caravanserais once rose every 30 kilometers along this stretch, a day's march between shelter and thirst. You lean against sun-warmed stone, its surface pitted by 8 centuries of grit and goodbyes. Beneath the arch's keystone, a crevice cradles 72 pebbles, one per departing traveler. Superstition claims they soak up bad luck, though who bothered counting them? Your thumbnail fits a fresh stone beside the rest, modern anxiety joining medieval dread. The rock clicks into place, sound final as a vault ceiling. Dust swirls where merchants once tethered camels, loading Chinese porcelain and Venetian glass. Someone dropped an amber bead here in 1215. You spot it winking in cracked mortar. Historians still argue whether gate towers held archers or just pigeons judging your life choices. Your backpack strap snags on iron, rusted chainmail links embedded in the arch. Crusader armor, maybe, melted down after some forgotten skirmish, now fused with Seljuk stone. It flakes orange onto your sleeve, centuries-old blood rust. Sunlight hits the gateway's threshold, carved grooves, suddenly sharp. These parallel lines guided cartwheels for generations, ancient lane markers against chaos. You drag a heel through one, it's smoother than your phone screen. Wind plucks at your collar, a mimic of vanished merchants, adjusting headscarves. That dark stain on the 4th step could be coffee, could be donkey blood. 16th century TripAdvisor reviews were notoriously vague. Shade retreats, the arch's shadow shortens like a resigned sigh. 3 birds shoot through the gateway, a turtle dove flanked by sparrows. They arrow west followers of better-funded trade routes. Your water bottle glints where leather flasks once sloshed, plastic outperforming goatskin since 1957. The keystone above bears a chiseled date, AH 498. You do lazy mental math, 1104 CE. Wrong. Actual scholars use lunar calendars. Whatever numbers dissolve faster than mortar here. Heat blurs the horizon, mirage puddles mocking the departed. 13 Crusader castles once guarded this valley, now just vague lumps in the distance. Your sunglasses can't filter the glare of dead empires. A truck horn wails from the modern highway. 18th century camel drivers would have hated your Spotify playlist. You kick a pebble. It skitters across the threshold, tumbles into oblivion. That's your cue. Turning back, you glimpse the Caravanserai hole, its arches and courtyards humming with ghostly commerce. Your shadow pools at your feet, keeper of receipts the wind already shredded, one palm pressed to the gate's flank. Stone stores warmth better than memory. Someone etched a crude flower here, teenager missing home. Homesick graffiti transcends millennia. The desert exhales, your retreating steps sink with absent caravan bells. 50 meters out, you glance back, the gate's a black pupil in sunlight's golden eye. That falcon circling above could be a thermal, could be Ibn Hawkle's ghost taking notes. Your boot crushes a clay shard, once part of a wine jug. Pottery's eternal comeback tour. Vessel, debris, archaeological treasure, tourist trash. Circle complete. A vendor's laugh floats from a roadside shack. Continuity in capitalism. You buy a Pepsi, dripping condensation onto Seljuk dust. Caravans ended, but transaction is forever. The gate shrinks in your rear view, its arch now stitching land to sky. 14 generations of swallows nest in its cracks, landlords who never check out. Your pocket still holds keystone grit, granules destined for a jar on your desk. Future you'll puzzle at its origin, then shrug and reuse it for coasters. History's a game of keep away with itself. Hot asphalt softens underfoot. 21st century pilgrims wear better socks. The Caravanserai murmurs behind you, a fading bass note in the desert song. You hum along, off-key, but earnest. Road trips need soundtracks, even silent ones. A high-pitched giggle ricochets off the vaulted ceiling. Your neck prickles like someone dropped ice down your shirt. You freeze mid-step, but the courtyard lies empty under washed-out stars. 9 centuries ago, merchants clapped here to test acoustics, their handiwork perfected, until whispers carried 30 meters. Hello. You croak. The ceiling volleys it back as ello, 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 like a faulty robot clone. 3 more laughs erupt from nowhere, each pitched higher than the last. Some claim Caravanserai's amplified sound to deter thieves. Others say architects just loved messing with drunk traders. Your shoe grinds a pebble. The crunch magnifies into a bone-dry crunch, crunch, crunch. You whisper awkward. The walls hiss ward, 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 like leaking tires. Remember that 14th century poet who wrote verses in echo form, his ghosts probably cackling at your monosyllabic wit. A pigeon coos from a shadowed niche. Its call spirals into Doppler effect nonsense. You hum the Super Mario theme. The building contorts it into a minor key dirge. Historians still argue whether these sonic quirks were intentional or architects just botched the math. Wind whistles through a cracked dome. Sky's breath becomes a wheezy harmonica solo. You snap your fingers. Sharp clicks bounce between pillars like billiard balls. That doodle from 1297, showing a lute player duetting with echoes. Mayonnaise middle-age memes were weird. Testing, testing, you announce. The Caravanserai lobs back esting, like a bored clerk. Your phone's voice memo app picks up garbled replies, 6 seconds delayed. Imagine medieval traders doing VoIP calls here. No, Ahmed. I said 500 dirhams. Not echo, damn you. Dust motes swirl where your breath disturbs the air. Each exhalation, a mini hurricane in stillness. You sing a Celine Dion snippet, walls shredded into avant-garde jazz. No wonder Sufi mystics dug this place. Free auto-tune for their trance chants. A bat squeaks overhead, sound warping into cartoonish reverb. You stomp, the floor answers with a hollow thrum. Ottoman tax records mention echo coins, fake money tossed to startle pickpockets. Did it work? The silence smirks. Marco, you try. The building volleys polo, with unsettling glee. Your shadow mimes a facepalm. It's got better comic timing than you. Archaeologists found 32 ancient whistles here in 1987. Bootleg echo toys for Silk Road kids. You clap twice. The ceiling fires back 4 times, adding extra flair. Someone chiseled YUSUF EATS donkey fodder here in 1123. Eternal burn delivered in surround sound. The insult tour go viral 10 generations, roasting Yusuf's dubious diet. Sunrise bleeds through arrow slits. Your echo experiments turn gold-tinged. One last shout. Is anyone there? Answered by 9 fading anyones. The walls settle, satisfied with their dramatic exit. Stepping into dawn's glare, you pocket a pebble-mute souvenir of a chatty ruin. Later, airport security will ask about the weird rocks in your bag. You'll smile, remembering how history echoes in jokes. Only dust understands. The severed rope sways its frayed end, tickling empty air where a bucket once swung. You lean over the well's throat, peering into blackness that swallows even echo. A pebble plucked from your pocket falls. You count 3 heartbeats before impact should sing. Silence answers. Seljuk caravans dug these shafts 40 meters deep, thirst measured in coiled rope and calloused palms. Yet the water table fled centuries ago, leaving only a hole that yawns like a jilted lover. Your shadow stretches across the well curb. Here lies H2O, as epitaph feels crude. Legends murmur of sprites sealing springs when pilgrims stopped tying red rags to the pulley payment for borrowed water. You dig a hairpin from your bag, toss it as modern tribute. The metal winks once mid-fall gone. Archaeologists found 13 Ottoman coins in a similar well, all dated 1599, all minted during a brutal drought. Were they offerings or just bad luck? Wind whistles through the shaft, a wet, hollow sound that taunts. You tear notebook paper into scraps, releasing a flock of origami cups. They spiral down, stationary vultures seeking liquid that hasn't pooled here since Mamluk armies marched past. Historians still argue whether caravanserais abandoned wells due to shifting trade routes, or because the earth itself grew parched of human noise. Footsteps crunch behind you. You spin. Meet only the grinning vandal who carved Mehmet 1451 into the limestone. No splash. No spectral merchant demanding tolls for phantom drafts. Just the sun climbing higher, your tongue thick with borrowed dust. The rope sags. Burnt strands suggest a blade's farewell cut. You tug it, grains of hemp stinging your palm like sandfly bites. In 1962, a geologist claimed to hear faint lapping below. Turned out to be his canteen leaking. Googling secret underground Seljuk reservoirs later feels inevitable and embarrassing. One last chunk of mortar dislodges under your thumb, plummets. You press an ear to the void, catch the faintest skitter of stone on stone. No splash, just an endless tumble through dark and drier days. Your throat tightens, the body's rude joke about what it's owed. Walking away, you pocket a hemp thread, tiny relic of the lifeline that failed. Camels once knelt here, velvety nostrils flaring for water they'd never taste. You mimic their snuffling, the desert laughs through cracked lips. The desert exhales through cracks in weathered walls, a low hum vibrating your molars. You tilt your head, mistaking it for distant engines. Then remember the nearest road lies 70 kilometers west. Wind funnels through a fractured cupola, shaping a mournful scale that rises and falls. Close your eyes. It becomes a mother's shush to her child. A camel driver's whistle, both and neither. They built caravanserais one day's walk, apart 12 hours of shuffling through dust to earn this symphony. Your boot taps worn stone, mimicking the 3-beat rhythm of laden camels. Historians still argue whether desert winds carried actual tunes, or if exhaustion turned noise into song. Try humming along. Your voice cracks. The building harmonizes in a minor key. A 1952 expedition found camel ribs etched with primitive musical notation near Bukhara, the oldest known sheet music for road fatigue lullabies. You press a palm against sun-warmed plaster. Feel the vibration through your tendons. Tomorrow, archaeologists might X-ray these walls, find frequencies petrified in the mortar. For now, it's just you and the world's oldest ambient track. Moonlight pools in a corner. The silhouette of a leafless fig tree conducts phantom musicians. You catch a recognizable phrase, 7 notes repeating like a broken lyre. Bedouin guides once swore these melodies predicted sandstorms, tuning their ears when barometers failed. The wind shifts. The song dissolves into static. Your canteen gurgles a pathetic duet. Caravans stored lyrics in water skins, sloshing liquid against the goat skin to remix old chants. You invert the bottle. A half-hearted glug spins a remix of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. The desert isn't impressed. Starlight exposes graffiti on an archway, medieval stick figures playing oversized lutes. One wears a conical hat. Another has 6 fingers. You sketch a tiny microphone in their midst. Art vandalism or collab. The wind flutes approval through the ruin. Fatigue weighs your lids, the sort only camel wool blankets and shared snoring could cure. You slump against a pillar. Let the aria thread through your thoughts. Scholars reconstructed a lullaby from 13th century spice manifests. Every cumin and cardamom purchase corresponded to a note. Your receipt for hotel mints back home would play a jaunty jingle. Dawn bleeds across the courtyard. The song frays into birdsong and truck horns. One final gust tousles your hair. Carrying a perfect middle C, you hum it walking to the Jeep engine roaring over the serenade. The road ahead shimmers, humming its own reply. The eastern sky blushes, its light sharpening cracks in the gate's arch. You hesitate 1 foot in dust, 1 on worn stone. The Caravanserai exhales against your neck, a dry breath carrying syllables too guttural for modern tongues. Scholars know these way stations bore secret names, spoken only at midnight to confuse djinn. Your boot scrapes a half-buried tile, its glazed cobalt surface still whispering al-Munsarif. The straightening place. Historians still argue whether that referred to correcting a camel's load or a traveler's crooked sole. A 1987 dig uncovered clay tokens here, each etched with nonsense words. Later, a grad student realized they spelled water backward in 6 dead languages, a protective cipher. You trace the gate's lower stones, their surfaces pocked with deliberate chisel marks. Maybe an alphabet, maybe termite scars. The distinction fades with each step backward. Wind plucks at your collar, urging you away. You glance back. The entrance yawns like a throat mid-chant. Legends claim certain rocks in Anatolia still vibrate with the names of caravanserais. If you drive nails through them at dusk, your rental car lacks the required tools, and the dashboard clock blinks irreverently. 3 crows alight on the wall, their throats puffing as if to croak the name. A joke forms, something about avian real estate agents, but dies unspoken. This isn't a place for your wit, only the dry chuckle of pebbles tumbling down parapets. The road ahead shimmers, an asphalt mirage. Your pocket feels heavier, though you've stolen nothing but photos. Ottoman tax records mention couriers swallowing parchments with way station names, securing secrets in their bellies for delivery. You crave a mint and maybe a therapist. One final gust shoves you forward, the caravanserai's true name clinging like burrs to your jacket. You'll mispronounce it at a dinner party next year. Watch historians cringe. Poets lean closer. For now, it throbs behind your ribs, a second heartbeat hammered from ancient mortar. The sun climbs. The stones go silent. The highway exhales. You merge left, cradling the word where GPS signals can't corrode it. The eastern light bleeds softer now, spilling through the arch's fractures like liquid amber. You linger, weight balanced between dust and stone, as the caravanserai's breath stirs the hairs at your nape. No guttural whispers, just the creak of settling earth. Researchers say these shelters carried midnight names, chanted low to mislead desert spirits. Your shadow crosses a tile shard, its faded blue glaze murmuring al-Munsarif, the straightening place. No need to decide tonight whether it's straightened packs or pilgrims. The 1987 dig left tokens in museums, clay shards whispering water backward in forgotten scripts. Your thumb grazes pitted stones, ridges that could be letters, or the land's own chapped skin. Does it matter? The wind says no, its answer smoother than scholars' quarrels. A breeze nudges your shoulders, gentler now. The myth about nails and singing rocks drifts through your mind, but your hands stay empty. Practicality wins as headlights blink on the highway ahead. 3 crows preen on crumbling walls, their silence wiser than any joke you might have made. You pocket a pebble, not stealing, just borrowing its grit for later. The road hums, a drowsy serpent of asphalt. Your throat tastes of dust and unspoken words. Some secrets stay safer in the belly or the hollow of a held breath. The final gust feels like a palm between your shoulder blades, urging without force. The caravanserai's true name nestles behind your sternum, a warm pebble glowing in the dark. You'll fumble it later, mangle its syllables over wine glasses. But here, now, it fits. Tires whisper on asphalt. The sun lifts its golden thumb from the horizon. Behind you, stones sigh into dust, into myth, into sleep. You adjust the mirror, catching one last glint of cobalt in the rear view before the highway bends, and the world softens to a lullaby of gravel and engine hum.